All right, so we've got 3 awesome matches taking place tonight. First match is going to be DFA versus Smoke Adders. They are here in the lobby, ready and waiting to go. And then whoever wins that matchup tonight is going to actually go up against RJF afterwards for the finals. So, both teams are ready here. Matt, do you have anything you want to say before we lock and load into the fight?
Not much, just that I think that these are going to be a series of very exciting matches, and I'm looking forward to what these teams bring tonight.
All right. Without further ado, let's also quickly discuss the map, because we haven't done that yet. So which map are we dropping on here?
Right now, we are about to drop on Viridian Bog.
All right.
Here we go.
Let's go. Round 1 of the finals. Smoke Adders versus 228 Death from Above. Should be fairly interesting.
Viridian, you expect them to be bringing heavy brawl or a bit more of a range composition here?
Well, seeing what I've seen from DFA so far, they do like the brawl, both them and Snackwatch. So, I'm guessing I'm going to be seeing a brawl situation from them, but because it's Viridian, we may never know.
Indeed. And, well, as we're coming in here, looking at DFA side, we have Draven and Javelin, Pickle, Dax in a Hunchback 2CA, PPCs, Seabiscuit and Vulcan MPLs, Victus and Nightshare H, ER Largest Gauss, Giggity Goo, and a Annihilator 2A, AC2s, and we also have Foxy and a Vapor Eagle 3 ATMs. On the other side for SA, we have Annihilator 1A. That one is Heavy Gauss and ER Meads. Vapor Eagle 2 for Kevster, Piranha 3 for Mad Cat. The Vapor Eagle 2 is an interesting 2 AC10 ERPPC build. Javelin 11A medium lasers, Vapor Eagle with ATMs for McGraw, and a Sleipnir for Midge.
Interesting.
That's a 4 Ultra 5 Sleipnir.
So currently we're seeing a small movement from Smoke Adders here, Captain Judas and Mad Cat, and the Javelin and the Piranha. Moving on up to the ridge here. Seabiscuit. Oh, Seabiscuit's down below. So Captain Judas does not see Seabiscuit over here. He's moved up there in that Vulcan.
Eagle, Captain Judas is actually taking a glance over here in his Javelin, backed up by McGraw and his Vapor Eagle. DFA seems to want to scout the center area of Draven, Colts, and Javelin. No real engagement happening at this moment, though.
DFA taking down that UAV. Popped by... Smoke Adders taking down that UAV.
Yeah, interfering with his large lasers. Bright comes down on Judas, nicks him a bit.
So DFA looks like they're definitely ready for a long-range engagement. They've got multiple mechs spread out across the back end of the map here. Holding... they've got quite a bit of control right now. Smoke Adders also got quite a bit of control. We've got Kevster there and that Vapor Eagle at the back, unfairing there, and then Annihilator.
Yeah, Seabiscuit taking a bit of damage, having to back off from his Vulcan. Smoke Adder seems to have taken control of the top side. A couple of skirmishes going on over here.
Smoke Adder's lights are being very aggressive on this corner. But DFA's long-range mechs are able to actually capitalize on them there. So DFA has to be careful.
Yep.
Fox seeing that Vapor Eagle moving on up.
DFA's holding a bit of a tighter position close to the wall here. I don't know if they're going to be able to move out of this relatively easily. Smoke Adder seems to be very content just holding the top side. DFA does have the timer advantage on them, though.
Draven holding that Javelin, holding the circle, making sure that he sees any movement that way from Smoke Adders. Currently, Smoke Adders, most of them hold up there on that ridge. Unfairing in the Annihilator. They're attempting to trade against Draven, I believe. I believe he's attempting to actually poke that Annihilator. Not necessarily the best of trades.
Even at that range, dual heavy Goss is quite a force to be reckoned with. I don't think it's the most effective given the projectile speed and also Draven being an agile light mech there, but still, going one-on-one against Annihilator is not what I would consider the best of choices here.
Yeah, especially against the light. If you can pull it off, that's great, but it's very risky. Unfairing there in that Annihilator taking a strike, although it didn't look like it damaged him too much. Mad Cat in the Piranha here, getting up behind some of DFA's units. Looks like Mad Cat's attempting to figure out if he can get a back shot on one of DFA's mechs. Being very aggressive on that side. Scouting for smoke adders, finding out where DFA is.
From where he's standing, it's still going to be quite a distance for him to get eyes on the back line of DFA. He doesn't have the range to engage, so that's all he can do at this moment. Not too much is still being done on the top side of this map here. We still have Midge and McGraw holding top, the top platform, and Draven, Colt, and Gady are still in that little divot there, just sitting and
finally
waiting.
Has moved up here in his Annihilator, but very drawn out battle so far. I expected
a little bit
a brawl, but we're not getting that. That's okay.
Yeah.
Though.
Both teams content to just sit back with their range standoff. Captain Judas here getting a little bit cheeky, seeing if he can push an angle on this right side. Seabiscuit manages to catch him. A little bit of fire traded back and forth. Ravenclaw coming in though.
Seabiscuit's backing off over to the far side, trying to get some extra lines.
Seabiscuit's relatively beat up at 72%. He's got red armor on his CT and right leg. Needs to be a little bit careful lest he bleed away way too much armor. His CT's actually open now.
McGraw there attempting to get some fire with his ATMs.
Right now with SA stacks up top, they could mount a push and catch out these light mechs if they wanted to become a little bit more aggressive. If they did drop down early, they would still be relatively protected from the back mechs, Pickle Dax and Invictus and the Hunchback and the Nightshear. But they seem happy again, just holding the position.
Now 228 does still have the timer, so it's going to be interesting to see what Smoke Adders does. They need to make some sort of movement if they want to ultimately win this fight. Both teams still sizing themselves up. Sizing each other up, sorry.
All in all, there's been relatively little macro movement from both teams. There have been a couple of shifts from SA's side to try to assign a little bit more force to the top end of the map. A couple of range trades going on here. Pickle Dax actually taking a really big hit here. His left torso is actually open. He's lost a PPC.
228's long range mechs. Right back here, they're focusing on Invictus now, down to 70%. The bulk of the engagement between the two teams has been on that corner where the lights were. But now Smoke Adders slowly engaging into the middle area, using their long range mechs to take out Pickle Dax and Invictus here, down to 79 and 58%.
Also, even though Kevster and his Vapor Eagle is down at 50%, he actually has nothing important opened up. Both his side torsos are still armored, though red, and he has all his weapons.
A lot of damage here in the Annihilator, going up against 3 of Smoke Adder's mechs. Seabiscuit attempting to help him out, still down to 61 though in that Vapor Eagle. Sorry, Vulcan. Smoke Adder's lights again moving on up to the left-hand side, sorry, right-hand side of this ridge.
Again, the CT for Seabiscuit is open. If he takes another dangerous peek, he could get hit a little bit harder than he wants to.
Draven over here scouting on this side. I don't know if he knows that Smoke Adder's lights are right here.
He's already lost his right arm, so that's half his firepower gone. He's playing with fire. He's about to peek into a Cyclops.
If they push on him, it might be over for him. He is in a good spot to scout for his team, though.
Foxy in the Vapor Eagle was the only one that had line of sight down that lane. Now that their Overwatch mechs have just backed off entirely, this avenue is open for Smoke Adders to push if they so choose to.
Pickledax going wide, trying to get some shots on that Cyclops there.
Yeah, and indeed, Midge pushing up aggressively, whittling down Pickledax even further. Don't think DFA is in a position to respond to that at the moment. They're mostly clumped towards the center of the circle. They're in a straight line to each other, basically, so Pickledax is going to have a hard time covering the 3 teammates up front.
Draven called again, going on over to the left side here.
That risky peek, I don't think paid off for him. Midge and Mad Cat slowly wresting control of this area. It's been left vacant by DFA.
Draven called
Judas with a strike, taking out 2 of DFA in that corner.
And we see Kevster over here in that Vapor Eagle on Smoke Adder's side, able to get shots from the left-hand side on Giggity Goo. We see Smoke Adder's Annihilator and Javelin moving on up on Giggity Goo now. Giggity Goo doesn't have a lot of help from his teammates right here, and he does go down. Unfearing does take him out. Unfearing, sorry.
Pickledax getting rained on by those missiles. Not able to really respond to that.
right in Foxy's back. Does take Foxy out. 2 mechs left on DFA's side.
Victus is up high, trying to hold off on this last stand. He's going to have to drop down here, and Mad Cat's ready to sweep up another kill.
Pops a UAV, but it might be too little too late for him. And he does go down. The only one left is Pickledax. And Pickledax goes down. So round 1 of the finals for the Summer Grand Prix goes to Smoke Adders.
Indeed.
There's Mad Cat's Piranha there. Alright, let's take a look at some of the damage numbers here. Captain Judas and that Javelin doing 526. Unfairing, 594. Pickledax doing only 195 in that Hunchback 2C. He did have quite a bit of opportunity to fire on them with those PPCs. Invictus, conversely, doing 454 there in that Niger, right next to him.
Draven Colt in the Javelin with 75 damage. He did lose his right arm relatively early, up in the 85% or so range, which crippled his firepower essentially, and the aggressive pokes that he repeatedly took didn't quite pay off. He wasn't able to put down that damage.
Alright, let's take a look at the map strat here.
Indeed.
I have the... Alright, let's take a look at the map strat.
Yep.
So we got Meridian back here.
So early on, we had DFA attempt to take up a upper position of sorts to try and control from this. Oh, sorry, that's the wrong color. DFA attempted to put their long-range mechs here, move a main force up towards the center of circle, and try to wrest control of the circle that way. Whereas SA took a bit more split approach. They sent people up high onto the top ridge. Sorry, the map is a little bit slow to update, it feels. Up here, taking control of the top lane here. The Annihilator slowly trudging its way up, taking out a UAV around this area early on. However, what ended up evolving was a very slow, methodical trade game of sorts between the backside of Smoke Adders, lined up red here, with an occasional scout going down this way, between the back lines. Consequently, DFA's front line was stuck in this area. Not a very fun position to be in. Smack dab between the alleyway in the center that Annihilator was overwatching, and constantly being harassed by the Lights and the Vapor Eagle from the top side. Eventually, when DFA moved their forces up, it was, I would argue, a questionable decision, as you end up with about 3 mechs in that circle again, and what we saw, with a strike taking out 2 members of DFA. That's crippling. And the backside positions that they took up with their Overwatch mechs were unable to get good sight lines to defend the front force and repel any sort of incursion along this area.
Another small thing we saw was Smoke Adder's Vapor Eagle move on up this bottom line here, up on this ridge. And he was actually able to take some shots downrange on DFA's little circle of mechs there. He wasn't able to get up there in time to actually take on I think it was Draven and Captain Judas that actually died from the strike a little bit earlier, but he was able to take on the Annihilator that was there, and he actually also had lines on the rest of DFA's long-range mechs, the Night Gear and the Hunchback.
I felt that the positioning from DFA's Overwatch mechs, the Hunchback and the Night Gear, probably would have been a little bit more useful were they able to rotate either to the left or to the right. That way they can wrest control of the south side of the circle, or prevent anything from leaking in from the top side. That being said, Invictus did get a decent number of shots in with his Night Gear, thanks to his superior range and higher elevation.
All right, let's talk about some of the stats here.
Stats page should be up.
Yes. Now remember, both teams have 5 minutes to set themselves up for the next drop.
Indeed, at this point they have about 4 minutes to go. So before we dropped, we mentioned that it was likely that DFA was going to take a brawlier composition, and given that they actually under-tonned themselves by 10 tons, I was surprised that they didn't bring duplicates.
That is true. We didn't see duplicates from either team, actually.
On SA's side, there were actually 2 Vapor Eagles, which brought them back down to 350 as well, from 360.
Right, okay, on SA's side.
So both teams appear to be locked. I'm checking in on them right now.
And the winner of this matchup here, DFA versus Smoke Adders, the winner will move on to face RJF.
Doesn't seem like they're quite ready yet.
All right.
So, we'll have just a moment. They have about a minute and a half left. Double check one more time upstairs. Yep. Like we do have a legal deck from here, DFA side. Just waiting on
1 minute to go for the next round. And we will roll the map. We pull up the map rotation here. So for
double checking.
drop 1, map rotation is Canyon Network Mining and Bog. Drop 2, Riverlight Oasis, Tourmaline Desert, and Grimplexus. So it'll be one of those 3 maps. If this goes into a drop 3, drop 3's pools are Forest Colony Snow, Hibernal Rift, and Frozen City Night. And if by chance it does go into a drop 4, Canyon Network Mining and Verdian Bog, once again, are
One last check. Everything seems good. And we should be good to go. So,
right. Let's roll
whenever you're ready. Here we go. And map has been acquired. Are you ready to go?
Yep, I'm ready.
Gotcha. Here we go. And off we go to Tourmaline Desert.
Tourmaline Desert, my favorite. There are a lot of good desserts out there. Tourmaline's my favorite. Cheesecake
Might be a
and
little
ice
bit
cream.
gritty for your taste, so
Well,
just saying.
I like it gritty.
Whatever floats your boat. Tourmaline Desert. We do have an interesting tonnage from DFA's side, opting for 340 tons and 2 duplicates.
2 duplicates?
Or rather, 2 sets. Yeah, 2 sets of duplicates. So they're at a slight tonnage disadvantage, though SA themselves opted not to take the full 360 tons, 5-ton offset. Not too big of a deal. It'll be interesting to see what they choose to bring in. On DFA side, we have 2 Nightjares, Annihilator 1P, which I believe be here. Yep. Apologies. We have 2 Nightjares, Annihilator 1P, 2 Piranha 1s. Gotta get those machine guns. Machine gun love. And Dax in a Hunchback 2CA. Again, ERP PCs, it seems. For Smoke Adder's side, we have McGraw and a Huntsman, Midge and a Sunspider A, Madcat and an Incubus 4, and Fearing in his Marauder 2C8, likely the PPCs. Indeed, it does appear to be that way.
So 228's got a fairly long-range deck planned out for this map here.
Yep. Captain Judas in a 3 PPC Vapor Eagle, and Kevster in his Hellbringer Virago. Also, your larges, yes. Both teams opting to bring relatively long-range standoffish decks.
Captain Judas already getting PPC shots off on, I believe, Foxy Short Bus.
A lot of trading action going on between Stargate and the left side of this ridge here. Turbo JLo and that ER Large Annihilator having to back off a little bit, not able to quite deal with that PPC fire. Invictus and Pickle Dax lined up to try and trade against that as well. Take a couple pot shots here and there.
A lot of PPCs going after Invictus's face. Not a lot of them connecting.
Indeed. Got the 2 Piranhas on standby on the Spire. Seabiscuit and Dravencolt. Waiting for someone to show up, jumping on them.
Conversely,
got
on
Madcat.
Smoke Adder's side, we've got Madcat in the Incubus and Magot in the Huntsman.
5 medium pulse Incubus. Oh, that's a brave maneuver. He's actually walking in between 2 groups of DFA right now. I wonder if they'll be able to capitalize. Seabiscuit and Dravencolt. See him and engage.
Unfortunately, he's just sidelined himself from his team.
Trying to run back towards McGraw and that Huntsman, but he's already opened in the back, and those machine guns are doing lots of work.
Very risky play from Madcat there, down to 76%. Does able to get a strikeout. Madcat trying it again. Playing extremely aggressive here in that Incubus.
Seems to be backing off here, though. Doesn't have enough he doesn't have enough support from his teammates. They don't have clear sightlines down that ridge, and those piranhas are nestled in a very comfy spot.
That they are.
Most of DFA's trading mechs though seem to be relatively bumped up around the stage area. Foxy, Short Bus hugging the ramp, Invictus relocating now. JLo still playing with the corner, and Pickle Dax going way out far wide. See if he can get a shot. He's actually relatively safe. There's no one in Smoke Adders ready to kind of deal with this sort of movement. But given their positioning, I don't know how effective this movement is going to be.
Pickle Dax does take out the little generator.
Might be a play for time here, as that gives them a little bit more time. Timer's still on advantage of SA though.
Draven scouting this left side.
We have the heavier tonnage moving up from SA on this right side. The Ultra 2 Sunspider and the PPC Marauder coming up towards Circle. Perhaps they're mounting for a push here to dislodge those piranhas.
Looks like they might be doing that. Kevster and that Hellbringer down to 63%. Off on the far right hand side of the map.
He's actually pretty beat up. His right torso is open, right arm's open, though nothing of import on the arms. He still does have his left torso.
He's been trading fairly heavily against 228's mechs. Unfairing there, and that Mad Cat down to 80. McGrail takes a ELR shot from Invictus here in that, in that neck gear. Moving on over. Apologies on that burp, that came out of nowhere.
Captain Judas is, I feel, has been pushed back a little bit into the corner of this crystal formation. He's not playing as brazenly as he was earlier, not standing out in the open now. Possibly due to the Annihilator just washing him down with ER larges and Pickle Dax in the wide flank. But now they're trying to regroup and handle center. These fights are rather
both teams
disjoint, I feel.
Fairly spread out. Lots of long-range firepower being thrown across the battlefield. Both teams just holding positions currently. Timer is in favor of DFA at this time, although Unfairing just took a large amount of damage. Has a strike on him now.
His left torso is about to go off, and his CT is open. He just took a Gauss round to the right torso. He's actually open all over now. A couple more shots, and he's going to lose half his mech, either side. And there it goes.
There it goes. And he goes down. Invictus is able to take him out. Invictus is able to get himself up on the spire using his jump jets to fire on Smoke Adder's mechs. We're seeing a small movement from Smoke Adders, Invictus, and Huntsman here.
Midge managing to take the wide path around, harassing Invictus with those AC2s and supporting Mad Cat and that Incubus and McGraw and the Huntsman as they try to push him off. They've done so successfully, which leaves the piranhas again in their little cubbyhole, a bit unprotected.
Seabiscuit and Draven still inside that little cubby holding the circle.
Doesn't seem like the rest of DFA is attempting to respond to this incursion here. Invictus alone in his positioning. Foxy, Short Bus, and Turbo JLo in the Nightshare and Annihilator just standing back, continuing to do slow trades. Feel like they want to respond to this incursion right here. Mad Cat is relatively isolated, and they could pick him off really quickly.
Invictus taking a bit of damage from Smoke Adder's Hellbringer. McGrail there in that Hellbringer, still doing a decent job. My apologies, Kevster in the Hellbringer.
And he's backed off, and I think he's searching for Pickle Dax and that's Hunchback.
Mad Cat in that Incubus again being very aggressive here. Almost 1v1ing Invictus in that night gear. Seabiscuit moving on around to take on Mad Cat here. Mad Cat able to get back into cover. Draven and Seabiscuit back to their little cozy spot. Invictus is also back to his little cozy spot with Foxy.
Now here's a terrifying prospect for SA. Right now, they have 2 Piranhas, relatively fresh. Seabiscuit's actually at 92 with nothing open. Both of those are machine gun Piranhas. With the percentages that they're out now, I don't even know if it would be effective if they pushed in to try and make a play at this point. Most of their mechs are already opened and critically damaged. If they try to close in on this, those Piranhas could easily clean up any mechs that try to do so. And Mad Cat and his Incubus is taking more and more free damage there.
It almost looks as if McGrail's looking the wrong way here in that Huntsman. But as I say that, we see PPC fire from Pickledax and the Hunchback far, far away. That could have been what he's looking at. McGrail does have a airstrike.
Essentially, Kevster's been turning back to try and deal with it every now and then, but he's also having to deal with Foxy and that Nightshare staring him down.
Pickledax down to 50% armor. Still has both of his torsos, I'm sure. Doesn't have any arms left. It's okay, you don't need arms in that mech.
He's backing off. Yes, indeed, both torsos are open. He's backed off. He's essentially out of the fight for the next couple of seconds.
Kevster's got a good sight line. Again, both teams waiting for the perfect moment to engage. Mad Cat, again, being aggressive here. Taking a lot of damage in that Incubus.
I don't think those aggressive plays have been paying off right there. Not too much damage on the other team to show for it, and he's quite beat up himself.
For Mad Cat, unfortunately, yes. He seems to be getting himself into a position where he's not able to allow his team to help him, which causes 228 to be able to fire on him without any return fire from Smoke Adders. 228 doing a really good job of trading against Smoke Adders in this match here. Just looking at the overall damage numbers, Smoke Adders side, their mechs seem to be more damaged than DFA's side.
They have the armor advantage, the numbers advantage, the timer advantage right now.
228 making a small push here, moving their night gears up. Seabiscuit's moved on up in the Piranha there. Draven's still sitting in that little cozy hole. Turbo J-Lo and that Annihilator also moving on up to the satellite. But look at what Smoke Adders are currently doing. They're moving Mad Cat on over as well. Another risky play by Mad Cat here. If they see him...
I think he's realized that. He's backed off before he crest the bridge right there.
Turbo taking a lot of damage on that Annihilator. Draven and Seabiscuit here. Hard engaging
jumping on McGrail. Yep, he's not going to be able to do anything with those ATMs at that minimum range. It's up to Mad Cat to try and save him, but I don't think he has the firepower.
McGrail goes down.
Ooh, a couple of good PPC shots from Captain Judas on Draven right there.
228's lights now pushing against Mad Cat. Mad Cat
and
goes down.
Down he goes.
228 still heavy on the push. Invictus, Turbo, Foxy.
This very spread position from SA is starting to fall apart. They're not able to get sightlines on each other, and they're being methodically picked off. Midge over there in the Sun Spider doesn't have good lines on any of 228's mechs. And Captain Judas is just getting flushed out by that Piranha pack.
He's basically sightlined himself from his own team and from DFA. Captain Judas about to go down here in that Vapor Eagle. Draven and Seabiscuit doing excellent work. And cleaning up the damaged mechs from Smoke Adder's side. And now it's just Kevster still trading against Pickledax. Both mechs very injured here, 29%.
Yep, he's one touch all over.
39%. Pickledax does
down
take him
goes.
down. Oh, but
oh no!
Pickledax also goes down. And now he cooks himself. Now it's just Sunspider
Midge and that UAC 2 Sunspider. Seeing what he can do. He's out of circle.
He
So,
is out of the circle, so the timer, if he chooses not to go into that circle.
But he doesn't have time to worry about that. He's got 2 piranhas about to jump him, and oh dear.
And it's over.
Those piranhas are terrifying.
Doing an amazing job of cleanup here. And the second round goes to DFA. Let's take a look at, yeah, DFA's Lights doing a very, very good job. Waiting until the last minute. And, yeah, they did a really good job.
Yep.
Making sure they cleaned
Ravencolt right
up
there picking up
SA's
those
mechs.
3 kills.
Now, Turbo and that Annihilator doing 617. Also, Kevster and the Hellbringer doing the exact same damage, 617. Pickledax there, only doing 303 with his Hunchback. But he was able to get quite a few shots on Kevster there. That was a very entertaining match to watch. It looked, looking back at it, it looked like DFA had a plan as to what they wanted to do, and they were actually able to succeed in that plan. Anytime SA made a movement or moved a mech in a position to try and fire on DFA's mechs, what we saw was a very good counter from DFA. Let's take a look at the map strat here, and Matt, you can run through what was going on.
Yep, just give me 1 moment. Getting some numbers in. Gotta get that paperwork all set.
Gotta get that paperwork set.
Getting the timer going for these team.
Right, map strat is up.
Indeed. What we saw was a very standoffish. I think this was, well, let me ask you this, Pickle. Did you expect them to take a bit of a standoffish deck, given that it is Tourmaline, or did you...
Seeing what we saw last game,
sets?
I did kind of expect a longer range engagement from both teams. Verdi and Bog, they brought longer range mechs, so I half expected to see long range, and Tourmaline happened to be the map that was picked, and it looked like both teams had a really solid plan on what they wanted to do for this map in terms of long range.
Yeah, in general, these long range playstyles are a little bit more safe when you're dealing with large maps like this one, or Grimplexus, Rublite Oasis. And so what we ended up seeing is DFA taking strong control of the center stage area against SA's much more spread out. They had a Hellbringer up high, Vapor Eagle here, and then the rest of their team tempting McRaw and the Vapor Eagle, Huntsman I believe this time. Huntsman and the Incubus moving up to try and get picks around here. They weren't too successful, and eventually what happened is DFA's left side was able to just bully out those Overwatch mechs, allowing for a Hunchback to go and flex out this way, slowly choking them off. By the time you have a Sunspider actually able to react and move far on this right side here, you're not going to be able to get good sightlines on anyone. This guy on the far right is not going to be able to help the person near Bravo spawn, not going to be able to help the person in the Charlie, in the spires near Charlie. And while they all have relatively good lines on the outside of circle, it wasn't very effective for the positions that DFA was taking. Conversely, DFA actually just embedded their piranhas right there, waiting to go and pick someone off or waiting for someone to play aggressively, probably just to maintain cap control, but ending up very, very effective. And over time, if you bleed too much armor and you know your enemy team has 2 machine gun piranhas, you're in for a world of hurt at the end, which is exactly what we saw, as that light pack was able to just methodically and surgically pick off every single mech. The light mech, then another medium, then a heavy, and then it just all went down from there. So right now, we're just going to go ahead and take care of a couple things, make sure that the lobby is set up. We'll be moving on to match 3, which is Conquest game mode, not domination. Map is still randomly selected from a pool. We'll be right back. Alrighty, thanks for holding on. We are back, and here we're just prepping for Drop 3 in this series. It's going to be played on Conquest. We have yet to determine the map.
Yeah, so Drop 3 is, because Drop 1 and 2 are Domination, Drop 3 is, in fact, Conquest. So now now we have an extra little thing for the teams to be aware of. I'm going to put the post-match stats up on screen here. Once again, thank you, Matt, for that post-game analysis.
Very welcome. This is...
So what are your predictions for round 3 here?
Well, given that both teams have opted for very long-range standoffish, and this is Conquest, I'm going to go not out on a limb and safely assume that they are probably going to take something longer range and potentially standoffish. Both teams appear to be readied up, so I'm going to go ahead and verify these drop decks. Team 1 looking good. Team 2 looking good.
All right. Round 3, SA versus DFA.
Alrighty.
This match here will determine who goes on to fight RJF in the finals.
And given that's a 1-1 so far, both teams are going to be duking it out. See who moves on.
This is going to be a hard-fought fight here. Round 3, I'm excited.
Yep, and off we go to... drumroll.
Because
Hibernal
you requested
Rift.
it. Hibernal Rift, oh boy, alright. Hibernal Rift it is. Drop 3, Conquest.
Nice chilly map. Canyon Network called out sick, so its Snowy cousin called in and said, hey, I can take over for a bit.
Snowy cousin, I like that. Let's keep our eyes out for snowmen.
There's plenty of snow, plenty of time.
Yep.
Make some snowmen.
Maybe set up some decoys. Decoys, the snowmen are.
The decoy snowmen.
Decoy snowmen.
Taking one for the team.
Yeah.
On DFA's side, we've got a Piranha 1, Machine Gun Piranha, Summoner, Foxy and that Summoner, 2 VR PPCs, Nightshare H, VR Larges and Gauss, Vapor Eagle, 1, Pickled Axe, we've got Turbo Jayla and Annihilator, 1P, and Seabiscuit and Vulcan. For Smoke Adders, we have McRaw in a Black Lantern.
Nice green
Midge. Yeah, Midge in his Marauder 2C8, probably ERP PCs. Captain Judas in Assassin Missiles. Unfearing and then Mark II, Madcap Mark II Bravo.
McGrail immediately going for the cap right behind him, that being Sigma.
That's a good instinct right there. Evster and his Huntsman, which is ATMs. And Madcat in the Arctic Wolf. Splat Wolf right there, lots of SERMs. Very dangerous.
So the bulk of SA currently moving on over to where Epsilon is currently.
Ooh. Seabiscuit attempting to do Happy Feet, dancing a couple of ERPPC shots, but ultimately not able to wrest control of Theta from them.
They do, however, have Gamma currently, which is their spawn cap.
Both teams 1-1 cap. Smoke Adders with a little bit of an early cap lead. Nothing significant though. 3 points.
Seabiscuit looks like he wants to try and get Theta again. He's just waiting for the perfect opportunity to try.
Is, but
Right
given
now
that they
could be.
have, they've got, SA is actually shifting its forces over down towards Epsi's side. They're not necessarily looking at Theta right now. He could go and get it.
They are taking control of Epsi currently. They just sliver capped it. Seabiscuit does just sliver cap Theta. Both teams currently in control of the caps. Smoke Adders, the rest of their mechs here, moving on back away from Epsilon side.
I apologize for misspeaking. Unfearing's Mad Cat Mark II Bravo is actually Gauss PPCs.
Gauss
Standing-
PPCs, that's
Yeah,
interesting.
he's standing far out in the back, which would be Trash Pile in regular Canyon, but I don't know what to call that one. Volcano Pile?
Volcano pile, I like that. Let's go
He's
for that.
he's moved down. Most of SA is starting to rotate down towards the south side here.
Unfairing
Couple
taking
of-
some damage on that Mad Cat there. SA's heavily aggressive on this Epsilon corner.
DFA taking sort of receiving stance here. I feel like they anticipate a push.
It
Given
looks
that
like
they've
Smoke
seen the
Adders-
mechs.
Looks like Smoke Adders wants to push. They were looked like they were about to, and then I saw Turbo J and the Annihilator and hit the brakes. Waited a few seconds, but they're going. They're going. It's a push. Here we go.
Oh boy. That's an aggressive
Mad
push.
Cat in that
J-Lo and that
Arctic Wolf.
Annihilator is not going to be able to get much distance.
Unfortunately
Pickle
for
Dax,
228, they're dropping into the valley. SA could easily move on Turbo J-Lo here, and they are. They are all
Oh,
moving on
no.
Turbo J-Lo.
Completely
228
isolated. He's
leaving
getting
Turbo
backshot.
alone. Not a good idea to leave your heavy assault mech alone. Now Turbo's not moving. He needed
Have they
to
noticed
have,
Invictus back there? Invictus is just standing out far,
I'm
taking
not
a
sure
couple
they
of shots
have.
here. Oh, McGraw realized it, and he's going back for him.
Turbo J-Lo does go down. Foxy
He
does
managed
take
to
out
trade
Mad
back,
Cat though.
killing Mad Cat, but
But
that's
that Annihilator, that's a heavy
not a lot
blow
of-
against SA. Invictus 1v1ing McGraw here. Not by choice, but by force. SA heavy on the engagement, Unfearing and
that's not a 1v1 for long. It's
Not
going to be a
anymore.
3v1. Invictus
that's-
about to get some unsuspecting guests
Invictus
knocking
goes
on his
down.
door, taking him down.
over here in the valley, Seabiscuit, Draven, moving over to Theta.
If he's taken out, Foxy's isolated. He's a summoner, he has jump jets, he can get out, but with the Assassin and Black Lantern soon to be on him, he needs to move
He needs to make a move
quickly
fast.
and not right towards them. Oh
McGrail
dear.
and that Black Lantern making a move on him. Unfortunately, they're about to pincer him.
McGraw's out for blood, chipping away at that leg. Foxy's about to get legged here.
Foxy does get legged.
There he is. Oh, he has McGraw.
SA's heavy. assault
Cavalry
mech.
has arrived.
Has
Judas
moved on
and
over.
Midge jumping on Foxy.
SA being very, very aggressive here. Now Seabiscuit,
Walking into
Seabiscuit
these
walking
two mechs
into
here.
all three of SA's mechs. Just about.
Pickle Dax needs to be able to cover him, but Seabiscuit's just running through cover. They're separated by that ice formation. They're not going to be able to back each other up.
SA has done a very good job of isolating 228's mechs and taking them out one at a time. Unfortunately, 228 has also got themselves into a position that allows Smoke Adders to do that.
Yeah. We've got Dravencold here in his machine gun Piranha,
Draven
desperately
goes
trying to
down.
take out that Mad Cat too.
Pickle
But-
Dax and that Vapor Eagle. Captain Judas out for blood. He wants him and he knows he can take him. Pickle Dax says no. I'll take
And-
myself, and drop 3 goes to Smoke Adders. Very well fought by Smoke Adders.
Very aggressive push there.
Very, very aggressive.
Well, looks like I get to eat my words about standoffish.
Now 228
Whatnot.
does have the cap lead, but that doesn't look like it's going to help them right now.
Now, with that Theta cap, it should be enough to just swing it over.
And that is it. All right. 228 DFA eliminated. Smoke Adders takes the win. Moves on to the finals to face RJF.
Indeed.
So let's take a look at some of the damage numbers here. Turbo JLo and that Annihilator only doing 222 damage. He was the first mech on 228's side to go down. Smoke Adders was able to make a really good push on him. Invictus in that Night Gear in the back trying to help him out, but unfortunately he got singled out by himself as well. We did see actually 4 of DFA's mechs get singled out and unfortunately passed away due to death by Smoke Adder. Yeah, Smoke Adders did a really good job there. Let's take a look.
Very
at
aggressive push.
very aggressive, very well
single-minded.
coordinated as well.
Just battering ram straight through 228.
Yeah, as I said at the very start there, it looked like they were about to push, and then someone said, no, 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 wait, we're not ready. And all three mechs on that corner hit the brakes and waited about a couple seconds. And then after those seconds went over, they made that move, and they did a very good job. Let's talk about the map strat here.
Alrighty. Let me square away a little tiny bit of paperwork here.
Paperwork is always important. And it was very interesting to see a Mad Cat with Goss and PPCs. Not often do you see that in competitive environments anymore, due to the PPC and Goss ghost heat.
It's playable, but very risky if you just even ever so slightly mistime that half-second threshold. Oof, that's a lot of heat penalty. So here on SA's side, we had an early Sigma cap and a movement over their Mad Cat. Their Mad Cat Mark II moved out. Sorry, it's a little bit confusing with one of the players named Mad Cat and an actual Mad Cat in the game. Taking a couple trades over Theta, while Seabiscuit from 228 attempted to make a play on Theta, was able to sliver it around the same time that SA was able to sliver Epsi and maintain a 2-2 cap parity. Now, granted, caps didn't end up being as significant in this match because of the aggressive play by Smoke Adders, just charging down this ridge. Essentially, when DFA had their mechs set up like so, they were unable to respond to such an aggressive movement because of the position that they had taken. With mechs clumped up, on this ridge, you don't have many shared sight lines because you're all standing right next to each other. And if you can't put down enough fire to drastically weaken or to deter an enemy from making this push, it's really easy to be shoved down into this low ridge like what we saw with DFA. And at that point, anything that you have that's incredibly slow, like the Annihilator still left up here, is going to be eaten alive. And even with jump jets, it does take a while to get back up on the ridge to back them up.
Yeah.
You can't do it quickly enough, and you can't get those slow mechs out of the way, they're as good as toast.
It almost seemed as if DFA were not sure that they actually had an Annihilator up there on that dot, because as Smoke Adders made that push, I saw about 3 or 4 of DFA's mechs drop into that valley, and it looked like what they wanted to do was make a movement similar to what I'm about to draw here on the map and try and get in behind Smoke Adders, and then they noticed that they had an Annihilator there, and it looked as if they almost panicked for a second. They said, oh no, what do we do? Our Annihilator will get pushed. Now conversely, had someone been scouting that corner and noticing that push, the Annihilator was there. If I was an Annihilator pilot and I saw that push, my first thought would be turn around and run. Now, I'm not an assault pilot, but what are your thoughts on that, Matt?
I think if you're not quite sure what the enemy is taking to begin with, and you don't necessarily have everything you want or need to scout that early, putting a mech up high, like 1 or 2 mechs up high on this ridge, is perfectly acceptable. Probably not out as far as I drew. You probably don't want to go past, like, say this line, because it's very easy for them to just blitz over.
That's true.
But you can put a mech up on the ridge. You just don't want to put all your eggs in one basket, so to speak. If they get pushed, where do they go? Down low? You can't fly into the sky, unfortunately. Bring back old jump jets. So it might have been more prudent for DFA with their longer range deck to maybe spread out a little bit more, maybe project towards, say, Kappa, for instance. Not necessarily to take it, but to take more of the map, what we would call Radio Tower and Canyon Network, this area here, and establish a bit more of a comfortable position that they can flex with than just having a full stack on this ridge, which is really good if an enemy team wants to push up to you like this, or somehow is already here and is walking up a straight line, but isn't that much of a benefit when you're just getting charged down the valley.
let's take a look at the stats here of that of that last match there. Putting the stats
I
up
do
on screen.
believe that the stats should be up.
Yes. Yeah, they're live right now.
Okay. Okay.
All right, before
Alrighty.
our next match is going to be Smoke Adders versus RJF. We're just organizing a interview here with Seabiscuit.
Yep. He'll be joining us in just a moment.
Yep, he is actually in the Discord. So let's Matt, let's move on over to Discord quick, and we'll have a small interview with him as we wait for the next matchup.
Sure. Here we go.
All right. Hello, Seabiscuit.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hello.
So, how did you feel about tonight?
Drop one was a little meh. That strike killing both of our lights, I think, cinched that game. So even I don't know. I felt like we were fairly even in our trades prior to that. And then drop three, we left Invictus out to die, and it cost us the game.
All right. Now, on the topic of short range and long range, in this tournament so far, from what I've seen, typically you guys like to bring, trade to brawl. So I noticed this time you actually went the opposite direction and decided on taking much longer range mechs. Tell me your thoughts on that. What was the decision behind going for longer range mechs instead of what you've been taking in the past?
Honestly, I think it's long range trading mechs are secretly our strongest attribute. We just never do it, and I'm not sure exactly why, but when we were coming up with strategies, we wanted to, one, deviate from what we did last week and try and be less predictable. And I think going long range as the team we are is definitely the most unpredictable.
I will say it was a little bit unpredictable for me, and I'm sure it was also that way for SA as well, considering, as I said, what we've seen. So, and I think it did work out fairly well for you guys on a couple of matches there. Of course, a few things to iron out. So, in terms of SA going up against SA, what were your expectations and what were your predictions involving what types of mechs and what strategies they were going to bring in tonight?
SA likes to mix it up, so they've got incredibly good pilots. Honestly, I'd say pilot to pilot they outmatch us, but normally we swing above our belt through planning and practice. And I think that showed in drop 2. Drop 1, they brought pretty much what I thought they would bring. All 3 drops, to be honest with you. Well, the 3rd drop, a little different, but the first 2 drops definitely.
Yeah, drop 2, you definitely, from my eye in the sky, it definitely felt like you guys were at your strongest there. Drop 1, you know, both teams were kind of feeling each other out, but drop 2, you dropped, and it really felt like you knew what you wanted to do. You knew where you wanted those mechs to be, and anytime Smoke Adders made a movement, you were able to move your mechs in a position to counter those mechs. So talking specifically about drop 2, did you guys plan specifically for maps, for example, like Tourmaline, or did you go ahead and try to come up with strats and decks and stuff for that map, or did you just play that really, really well?
No, we actually drew that one up almost exactly like it played out, and we did the same for Rubelite and Grim, as far as where we wanted to be. Honestly, Grim was probably our least favorite of the 3 in drop 2, but Rubelite and Tourmaline we felt incredibly confident on.
It definitely showed that you guys felt confident on that, so great job on that. Now, one more thing I do want to ask you involving Tourmaline was you had a really good gank squad there and those piranhas on drop 2. I noticed for a very large amount of the time of that drop's duration, your piranhas stayed in their little cubby hole there protecting the circle, and then once the rest of your team was able to get Smoke Adder's mechs, you know, fairly heavily damaged, fairly open, you just sent those piranhas in, and, you know, piranhas as they are, they like to eat things, and that's exactly what those piranhas did. They ate things, and yeah, those 2 piranhas did a very good job. So what can you tell me about that? What was the idea and the kind of planning behind that?
Really, we wanted to be able to hold the circle with our lights, and no matter what they brought into the circle. And normally 2 piranhas on whatever mech wins against whatever mech you put it up against, unless something incredibly absurd happens.
That's true, and that is oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just saying that we anticipated them to bring at least 1 ATM mech. That's it. They've been in favor of the ATM Vapor Eagle and Huntsman quite a bit, so that's why we're hiding in the cubbyhole, to make sure we weren't exposing. And if we did get ATM'd, it was gonna have to be somewhere where it could get shot by basically our whole team. So
right now, I did notice there again in that second drop, you actually moved, I believe it was Invictus in that night gear up on that spire. What was the decision to move him up there?
When we moved him over to the spire, I think that's in Echo 6 or the window, whatever you want to call it. Basically, it did 2 things. One, we saw the I can't remember the name of that mech right now. It was their light mech with the medium pulses.
I believe that was the Incubus.
Yes, the Incubus. Once we saw the Incubus over there, and it kind of like accidentally dropped right in front of the 2 piranhas, and it managed to escape, but it was hurting. And once we got out there and chased it a little bit, we saw the Huntsman was right there, and we just wanted to dissuade him from being on that entire side of the map. So if he was on that side of the map, he was gonna have to come from Alpha, going all the way down the 7 line. So
right, okay. Well, Seabiscuit, thank you for taking the time to interview with us. Thank you for you know, signing up for this tournament. I hope you guys had a great time. Hope you had fun. Any feedback or anything that you felt was really good about this tournament?
yeah, the best part about this tournament is we're not out yet.
It's not out yet. All right. Well,
so, no,
again,
it's double elimination, so we still got another shot.
that's right. So yeah, so thank you for taking the time for the interview here, and good luck on the rest of your drops.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
I'll talk to you guys later.
Yep. All right, so once again, that was Seabiscuit from DFA. Looks like we're almost ready here. RJF versus Smoke Adders.
Yep. Smoke Adders got the coin flip, and it's their team 1. With RJF on team 2.
Alright, let me update my scoreboard.
RJF has been the dominant team this time around, showing exceptional performance. Good trades, good team movement, good execution. I think it's going to be an exciting series of matches to watch here. What do you think, Pickle?
I think it should be fairly interesting. From what we've seen from Smoke Adders, Smoke Adders just defeated DFA, so they are warmed up and ready to go. Hopefully RJF is as well. We've seen quite a bit of long-range engagements from Smoke Adders. It's going to be interesting to see what they take against RJF currently in tonight's match here. So I'm just getting the scoreboard set up here. You said RJF's on team 2?
That is correct.
All right. Yeah, so it should be fairly interesting to see what RJF takes against Smoke Adders. It's going to be interesting to see if Smoke Adders decides to go for Brawl instead of long range, like what they did against DFA. And we'll see what RJF decides to take against Smoke Adders here.
Indeed. Righty, just waiting for both teams to ready up. Then be off to drop 1.
Alright.
So again, drops 1 and 2 are domination, and if it goes to drop 3, conquest. Got one team ready. Waiting on the next. So I know I'll probably eat my words later on by doing this, but do you have any predictions for what they're going to bring?
In terms of mechs, I don't know. We see a lot of Mad Cats, a lot of Night Gears from Smoke Adder's side. I'm not too sure.
Both teams are ready. Let me double check. Get to spoil myself for the match. Righty, it seems to be good. And it looks like the math does check out. And just a moment here, we'll be ready to go. So which map, you may ask? Well,
so
and it's gonna be, if it isn't the, is this the new map? Canyon Network.
Canyon Network. All right, here we go. Drop 1. SA versus RJF. Now, I do quickly want to say that I did actually have an error in what I talked about when I said DFA was eliminated. I forgot that it was actually a double elimination, so DFA is not actually eliminated. They go on to the losers bracket, I believe. Is that correct, Matt?
That is correct.
All
They
right.
will be playing the loser of this set.
The loser of this set is who DFA plays.
Indeed.
So they are not out. My apologies.
No. Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. They got a chance, Pickle. Don't take that from them.
I will try not to.
Alrighty, to the home of comp, Canyon Network.
The home of Comp, Canyon Network.
Here we have for SA, Vapor Eagle 2, Annihilator, Cyclops, Sleipnir, Vapor Eagle 3, so there's that duplicate for the 350 tons, Javelin 11A, and Piranha 3, and Laser Piranha.
A laser
For-
piranha, you say?
For RJF, we do have 2 Vulcans, an Assassin, a Summoner, Annihilator 1A, and a Vapor Eagle 2. That Annihilator, 5 Ultra 5s. A little bit of a departure from their previous AC2 bout.
Now
The
this
Summoner's
drop,
DACA as well.
this drop 1 is Domination. RJF's Lights being very aggressive on Captain Judas here in that Javelin.
Yep, those Vulcans making up that trench, looking for an entryway. You've got 2 DACA mechs in the backside here, near their alpha generator, looking to punish anyone who peeks up on the hill. Got Smoke Adders holding back on this back ridge, taking a little bit of a defensive posture, seeing if they can take a couple shots back and forth. A little bit of skirmishing between the lights and the mediums here, but nothing major so far.
RJF's Lights being very, very aggressive up on Radio Tower here, pushing Smoke Adders, Lights, and Mediums out of Radio Tower. They now have control of Theta and Radio Tower area. Still taking trades against Captain Judas.
Captain Judas and Mad Cat there, sitting on the ridge line. They've got a UAV up, but I don't think they're going to be able to wrest control of the Radio Tower back from them. You do have McRaw and the Vapor Eagle lobbing ATMs over, try to dissuade those mediums from pushing over, and there's a strike going down.
RJF taking a heavy, aggressive control against the map here. Their heavies
Unfearing,
taking
soloed
on
out.
Unfearing.
Managed to eke back into cover, but Nick Drazarian, the summoner, is lobbing UAC 10s.
Unfearing is pushing forward towards Nick Drury, and he, nope. RJF just took out
Idge
Smoke Adder's Cyclops
with a strike, it seems.
with a strike. Okay, so RJF's Lights being very, very aggressive.
And there's another strike, and Chunks and Fearing in that Annihilator.
There are 2
Vulcans
fights
are
going on right now
wreaking
here.
havoc in the backline. McRaw and the Vapor Eagle, limited range with those ATMs. Minimum range is not going to allow him to handle them. It's up to Captain Judas to peel him off, but he's not going to be able to do it. Falls
Unfearing
down.
does go down that Annihilator.
Well, the stopgap Annihilator finally got rolled over.
Kevster in the back here, about to get pushed on by RJF's Lights. Captain Judas has to fall back.
That push is already happening. Kevster's not going to be able to do much here. He has to back off or get flanked by these lights and get shot by what's in front of him. The Annihilator, Pelmashek, just slowly trudging his way upstream here.
Slave Label, to get away, goes off into, I believe, is the out of bounds zone.
Slave Labor's CT is open. Kevster might be able to finish him off, but he's getting shot from 3 different angles right now. Just Mad Cat over there, fending for himself in the Piranha. Seems to be legged. And down he goes. Oh, cooked.
And Kevster does go down. So heavy, aggressive movements by RJF to take round 1 from Smoke Adders. And they move back into the domination circle.
Well played.
Very early on, it looked like RJF were very aggressive, and they did not give Smoke Adders any breathing room at all. They just went right for the throat, and unfortunately Smoke Adders was not able to make any sort of movement. It looked as if they were, caught with their pants down, unfortunately. Kevster, though, in that back doing 630, but unfortunately not able to take down any of RJF's mechs.
And Midge and that Cyclops taken out early with what appeared to be a strike. 44 damage. That's very unfortunate.
Alright, let's take a look at the map strat here. So drop 1 does go to RJF.
Yep. RJF had an early setup with their aggressive mechs, making their way down the river, crossing the elbow, while
Meanwhile, their
SA
lights...
was...
Oh, sorry.
Well, yeah, SA was attempting to take a little bit of a setup. They were pushed back here by the lights. In this area, you had the Vulcans take a very aggressive movement here, down that alleyway, and harassing the rest of those mechs. It's very interestingly executed. It was a two-pronged attack that was very, very effective. The Vulcans went in completely disorienting the backline of SA, and while that's happening, they're able to get the rest of their heavy mechs, that the Summoner, the Annihilator, to just come up and mount a very aggressive push and collapse on SA from both sides.
Now, it looked like SA did attempt to get a nice firing line set up, but RJF being very quick to the draw on that map, being very aggressive, as you said, pushing Smoke Adder's lights out of their little position, and unfortunately unhinging Smoke Adder's ability to take on RJF as effectively as they wanted to. And yeah, as you said, we basically saw a two-pronged attack from both sides. RJF's lights. It was just the two Vulcans, very, very aggressive on that backhand side by Radio Tower, pushing, I believe at one point it was 3 Smoke Adder mechs, and then the rest of RJF's forces, their heavies on their assaults, over on the other side of the map, pushing on Smoke Adder's heavy mechs.
Indeed. And like we mentioned with the previous drop with DFA versus SA, if you have people lined up along that ridge and they can't get down or they can't relocate, even if you're actually down lower on that ridge, there's really not much else that you can go to. And if you don't set up properly to begin with, or they catch you unawares and they're able to actually just disorient your movement and prevent you from mounting an effective response because their mediums are in your backline, not going to have a fun time handling an aggressive push coming down the river. Just taking care of a few things here, and then we'll be moving on to drop 2 for Smoke Adders versus Russian Jade Falcon. Alrighty. Any predictions as to what these teams might be taking for drop 2?
For drop 2, it looks like RJF will probably bring something similar, something very fast, very aggressive, able to take on Smoke Adders before they're able to properly set up. Now, because we saw what just happened to Smoke Adders might switch things up a little bit. They might bring something a little more brawly, a little more close range.
Give them that extra bit of insurance in case they get aggressed on.
Yeah, exactly. Now, conversely, we could see the complete opposite. We could see RJF bring a long-range deck, to spice things up a bit, with SA thinking they're going to run the same thing as they ran last time. SA could, go a little bit shorter range, and then RJF actually bamboozle them once more and go long range.
A lot of metagaming right there, Pickle.
And stranger things have happened, so it's going to be interesting to see what we see here.
Interesting deviation to note was previously RJF were taking the AC2 Annihilator, I believe. This time around they took the 5 UAC 5 to better complement their closer range aggressive push. Summoner with the UAC 10s as well. I'm curious if they'll bring out the champion again. That DACA champion. 4 AC2s.
4
Quite a punch.
AC2s and a champion, huh?
Yeah, pretty tanky.
Champion's a 60-tonner, correct?
Champion, I believe so, yes. 60 tonner? Yes, I believe so. Yes, it is 60 tonner, indeed. Alright, both teams appear to be ready. Go ahead and double check here. Righty. First team looks good. Numbers check out. Second team looks good. Numbers check out. And we're good to go. And are you ready, Pickle?
I am ready to go. Let's get the map rolled, and we'll find out
Yep.
what map they're playing on for round 2
Here
here.
it goes. And as it turns out, we are going to the grimmest of places.
Oh,
Grim
no.
Plexus.
Oh no, not Grim Plexus. It's so grim. So
Too
scary.
grim.
It's too grim.
Very, very.
My little heart can't handle it.
Okay, we'll get your replacement.
Artificial heart, like the one that Jean-Luc Picard has.
It works for him. It'll work for us.
I just don't want to have to take a 6-hour shuttle flight to get it, maintenanced in a
That would be quite unfortunate.
shuttle alone with some measly little kid that likes to talk too much. I just want to sit and read my book and drink my Earl Grey hot.
Not cold?
Not cold.
You don't like iced tea?
Have you ever seen Star Trek?
Yes, I know. Teasing. Teasing. Teasing, Pickle. Give me a break.
It's sorry. All right, so drop 2 here. Smoke Adders
Drop
versus
2.
RJF.
Okay, and
Annihilators.
indeed, RJF brings Annihilator to A.
And they
That's
did bring that champion.
the AC2 Annihilator, AC2 champion. Let's go for the standoffish deck, it seems. Vulcan and Wolfhound on PLs, as expected. Summoner B. Bravo, which is ERPPCs. Vapor Eagle 1, also likely. Indeed, ERPPCs. It's actually 2 instead of 3 this time. On the other side, for Smoke Adders, we have Captain Judas and his Vapor Eagle 1 with the 3 ERPPCs. Midge and the UAC Sunspider. Unfearing in his ERPPC Marauder 2C. ER Larges and for Kevster and his Virago. Incubus 4, again with the MPLs. And the Huntsman is ATMs for McGrawl.
Now, an interesting move here from SA's Heavies. Still trying to make their way into the main area of the map.
They're going to take a while, and meanwhile, RJF's medium and light Wolfpack right here has already taken tabletop. Established circle controls. They got 21-second advantage here.
And they do
They
have
know.
backup on Hamburger Hill. UAV
Yes, they
goes
do.
up from RJF. SA sees it, takes it down.
Couple of early PPCs flying here and there. Captain Judas punishing that hill. Bad hill. Ooh, Nick Drazeri gets hit. One of those PPCs as well.
Looking over here at tabletop, RJF controlling a large portion of the map here with their long-range mechs.
SA is playing a little bit at a deficit right here. They've got basically 20 seconds down on the clock, and they're
RJF
a
again
little
being
clumps.
aggressive with their lights here, making engagements with Midge there and that Sunspider.
Yeah, Midge is getting punished for that aggressive peek on the left. He doesn't have enough team members able to support that line of sight,
Again.
especially against those close-range mechs.
Again,
RJF
RJF being
Is
very
taking
aggressive,
a dominant position right there.
completely denying SA of any tradability. They're slowly moving their Annihilator up to tabletop, but their lights are the star of the show here. And yes, that champion is now considered a light mech.
Indeed. It's definitely a light mech. What are you
Those
talking about?
that Wolfhound and that Vulcan, very, very
Midge in that
Smart
Sunspider, his
pokes.
right torso's red armor, it's almost open, and the Incubus is not the healthiest right now. Granted,
Cat
most of
and that
that's
Incubus
left
there.
arm damage, but if we look at the side of RJF, their aggressive mechs are actually not that beat up. Volkodov taking the most hits. Actually, his right torso is a little bit.
Terminator and that Summoner moving up to tabletop as well. RJF's Annihilator is now up here in Gulf 7. SA
I'm curious to
falling back a
see
little
what
bit.
SA's long-range support is going to be doing from this region here. I wonder if they're going to try and move up and aggressively support, or maybe
Midge
just
in
try
that-
and rotate.
Midge in that
Midge is getting
Sunspider
caught out.
has been caught out, unfortunately.
He's trapped. There's nowhere to go.
He's got
He's just getting
nowhere to
wailed
go.
on by ACs and PPCs.
RJF making
Captain
another
Judas
heavy
comes
push.
in. Midge is about to go down
Midge
here, and
does go
down
down.
he goes. Captain Judas is taking the brunt of the hits now. Wolfhound's Slave Labor going real aggressive, pushing up into the middle of SA. They're going through and snaking through the bunkers, so they're not going to be able to see where he is. Mad Cat's real beat up. They're about to
Captain
push
Judas
in on him.
Getting caught out here, and that Vapor Eagle being pushed on by RJF's forces. McGrell
Taking the brunt of the long-range fire. He's about to go down here.
He does go down.
How's the Incubus going down? Judas now next. McGrawl and Infuriating getting pushed back. Backfoot Slave Labor there. Kevster in a very uncomfortable range. That's a hot Hellbringer. He's not going to be able to do too much DPS here. Slave Labor's real beat up though. They might be able to pick him off. But they don't seem to all be shooting the same targets. McGrawl with his minimum range a little bit crippled here. And ooh, Cooks explodes.
Self-destruction.
Kev's getting pushed
Kevster
down.
goes down.
And Infuriating this ERPPC Marauder making a final stand. Might be able to get this Wolfhound though. Maybe.
He's got half a torso and hopes
Half
and
a torso and
dreams.
lots of dreams. And down he
Unfortunately,
goes.
He does go down. Drop 2
Very
undeniably
aggressive.
goes to RJF. That was very entertaining to watch. RJF controlling the map from the start of the game and just being super, super aggressive.
I
And
just
that's
want
not
to go
something
ahead
that
and
we've seen.
point out that that Annihilator was basically there the entire fight. The Annihilator. Front line. And was there at the end of the fight.
All right, let's take a look at some of the damage numbers here. RJF's Annihilator only doing 256, but he was, as you said there, up at the front of the fight. RJF being as aggressive as they were, being as fast as they were. Pelmeshek, it might have been a case that he just wasn't able to get a position fast enough to actually do a decent amount of damage, but at that point you see an Annihilator when you're pushing, and it's probably more of a a scare tactic at that point. But yeah, a heavy push from RJF again. Very good job. Unfairing in that Mad Cat though, doing 490, considerably higher damage than the rest of his team. So he did quite a bit of work there in that Mad Cat. In that Marauder. But unfortunately, it was not enough to help SA squeak out a victory there. Let's get the map strat up here, and we'll take a look at what we saw. Grimplexus. Domination. All right. Tell us about that match there here, Matt.
Apologies, map strat's being a little bit slow on my end here. I'm going to blame routing, and ISPs, as I usually do.
Just blame the internet. It's fine.
Yeah. Hold on, I actually have to refresh it.
All right.
Still showing Canyon for me. There we go. Aha. So, we had SA taking early positions, moving their Overwatch mechs in the back. Let me change that circle. And their lights were... The rest of their mechs were actually really slow to the party, relatively speaking. They took typical path a little bit longer than they could have with Charlie, honestly. And by that time, RJF already had their Vulcan and Wolfhound camped up on the position, ready to tell them, okay, here's where SA are going, here's where they are, here's what we know, Here's where we're free to control, allowing them to just take over Hamburger Hill and have complete domination of the left half of the circle. They were in 20 seconds earlier than SA, meaning they didn't have to do anything. All they had to do was overwatch the position, take over, and just sit down and let the timer tick. Meanwhile, SA is forced into an uncomfortable position. They have to do something. They have to either take out the gens, which is unfortunately being covered by that sight line up from Hamburger Hill, that larger red circle, or oval rather. And in choosing to do so, when they moved over and took a couple of bad trades, they weakened their left side ability to respond. And even with longer range oriented mechs, like AC2s have substantial amounts of DPS, they were able just to take their closer range mechs, take that champion, which is now officially a light mech, Pickle said so, blame him, it's a light mech now, and just barrel on over. In this scenario, this is actually bad on two cases. You don't have anywhere to go when they're rotating in on you, and you have to hope that you have a good enough line to receive that. And number two, if you have mechs sitting in the back line over here, there's not much they can do while you're still on this hill. They have a little bit of lines if they push out further, which eventually they did, barreling out this way. But by then, it's too late. They've already gone through most of your team. And then at that point, when you have high DPS mechs, the Annihilator, the Champion, the MPL mechs, pushing you, and you have an ear large Hellbringer or an ear PPC Marauder, you don't have that much sustained DPS, and you're just going to get pushed in on, and you're going to lose that DPS fight.
That's red circle there is more or less what RJF had in terms of movement. And yeah, that as I said, that was just a really good aggressive push by RJF, and we did kind of talk about that at the beginning of that match there. We did kind of speculate that they may have brought something longer range, and then Smoke Adders bringing something shorter range, but that didn't seem to actually be the case this time. They brought the same thing as they brought last time, and they just did the same thing that they did on Canyon Network.
Indeed. Alrighty, and then next up should be rematch.
Rematch?
Yes.
Who do we have for a rematch here?
SA versus DFA, if I'm looking at this bracket correctly.
Oh boy, a rematch.
Yep.
Everybody loves a little bit of rematchness.
A little bit of revenge here and there.
I'm sure both SA and DFA are ready to get at each other's throats once again. It's gonna be interesting to see if we see any change up between the two teams from the first set of matches to the second set of matches.
So here's a question. How many levels of metagame do you think they're up to now? It's like, I countered this because I think you're going to counter this.
Well,
that you think I'm taking because I want to counter that. How many levels do you think we're going here?
How many levels are we going, or how many levels are they going? Because they're not going any levels of metagame counter here. In terms of SA versus DFA, I mean, it's possible that we might see some counter meta stratting. But I don't know. I like to wait and see what we see.
True that.
Sometimes it can be difficult to gauge what we're gonna see in terms of teams because anything can happen. They could just completely change up their entire deck structure and their entire strat, and just completely bamboozle the enemy. So
They could. And then at the same time, though, you have to take into account that if you take something completely out of left field, if you haven't practiced it yourself, there's a little bit of a risk that your pilots aren't entirely sure how to do something different. Now, if they're all for it and they're ready to do it, heck yeah.
that's true.
If not, might want to be careful.
Now that being said, typically, if such a team were to do something like that, they would have already practiced it beforehand and just not told anybody. So we might see something like that if such a thing has happened, but I highly doubt it.
Indeed.
All we'll have to do is wait and see.
Alrighty, I'm just here getting the next teams in. It's gonna again be, as we said, rematch DFA versus SA, as this is a double elimination bracket. And it turns out that it is indeed a redux. DFA is Team 1 again. Alrighty, as this is another set, the maps will be different for the first time around. See what we get. Need to wait for the teams to hop in, ready up. Then, once they do, we'll roll for the map, drop in hot.
Drop it like it's hot.
Hot potato?
Hot potatoes.
Do you like hot potatoes?
Potatoes
Baked
are
potatoes.
okay.
Potatoes are okay. Fried, baked, mashed?
I prefer mashed, but
Mashed?
that's because I'm
Tacos?
lame.
No. There are many varieties of mashed potatoes.
But if you compare potatoes to rice, I will take rice any day. Rice is the best. Highly prefer rice over potatoes.
But rice and, I mean, yes, they're both starch. Yeah, but rice and potatoes are rice and potatoes.
Well,
Why not both?
potatoes in, for example, fries or poutine or something, that's fine. But just potatoes on their own, not a big fan.
Okay, that's fair.
Unless, of course, they're like baked and they have a lot of flavor, like extra added flavor to them or something, or they're like stuffed.
Stuff it with bacon and cheese
Yes.
and all that yummy
Yeah.
filling.
That's fine, but just potatoes on their own,
But the real question, sour cream or no?
Yes, always, every day.
Wonderful. Good. Good. You are not a heathen.
You can't have any sort of potato without sour cream, especially baked potatoes.
Well, I wouldn't say any kind of potatoes. I mean, a lot of mashed potato recipes on them do sour cream.
That's true. That's true. And you can do mashed potatoes without sour cream, but
Yeah, you can.
depending on what you don't put in the mix, it's just better to have sour cream with it.
Well, I mean, you could just do buttermilk, garlic.
I'll be honest with you, I don't know what buttermilk is.
We're gonna have a talk later.
Okay. I'm gonna get educated.
Edumacated. Yes, I will ask our resident chef expert to educate you.
That's probably a good idea. I have.
Defunct, if you're watching the stream, you need to educate this man.
It's not the first time he's been told that, unfortunately.
That's okay, we're all learning. Invites have been sent out to both teams, just waiting on them to accept. So,
Scoreboard's been updated. Let's update the title on stream here. DFA versus Smoke Adders once more.
This is the real elimination. Both teams have lost once, so whoever loses here is eliminated, and whoever wins here moves on.
Yeah, this is the actual elimination, not the elimination that I mentioned before, which was incorrect.
That's okay. Mistakes happened.
That is true. So Smoke Adders is Team 2, DFA is Team 1. DFA is in the lobby ready to go. We're still waiting on SA. Just updating the stream title here.
As well as one member from DFA. Seems like they may have had a disconnect.
Please don't hack my smart fridge. I like my smart fridge. Disclaimer, I do not actually own a smart fridge.
I have no idea what you're talking about. Wink, 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 wink. I'm definitely not hacking your fridge.
Please don't do that. My fridge has 0% electronics inside it. It's one of those really,
That's
really
false.
old ones.
Okay, that's false. That's false. It's a fridge. It has electronics inside it. What are you talking about?
I don't know what you're talking about.
It's a
It
fridge.
is completely
Pickle.
unhackable.
I'm not. I wasn't talking about whether it's hackable or not, but you said it has 0% electronics. Sir, do you know what a fridge is? Hello.
Speaking of fridges, did you know, Matt, that there are fridges out there that have cameras in them? You can connect them to your phone when you're at the grocery store to find out what's inside your fridge so you can make purchases while at the grocery store. That's amazing.
You know, I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I'm a caveman in that regard, and I just kind of look in my fridge before I go out shopping.
You see, I do that too. I look in my cupboards, and I look in my fridge, and I say, what do I need to buy? And then I go ahead and buy it.
I write it down on a sticky note.
See, I don't write it, which I probably should. I just memorize it, and then I usually
I'm
end
sorry,
up forgetting what I
I'm
need.
old-fashioned. I have a bad memory, so I have to write it down.
I do too. And then about halfway home, I remember, damn, this is what I forgot. The one thing. It's always one thing on my list that I completely forgot to get. And I'm not going back to get it because that's weird. So I'll
It's
just
okay, you're
suffer
better than me.
without
You
it.
forgot because you didn't write it down. I forget even if I do write it down. Let's not talk about that. Anyways, moving on.
Just put a sticky note like on your forehead.
No comment.
Alright. Smoke Adders is in the lobby here.
Okay, wonderful. So we are going to start a 5-minute countdown. 5 minutes, starting now.
Alright.
And for everyone just tuning in right now, thank you for watching. This is the 228th Summer Grand Prix Finals. We are currently going on the elimination bracket, the losers bracket. It is 228 Death from Above versus Smoke Adders. They're playing again to see who advances onto the next stage. The Summer Grand Prix is a 6v6. Best of 3 match set. The first 2 drops are domination, and in the event that a third one is required, it is conquest. The maps are randomly selected from a pool, predetermined pool, for each round, so the teams do not know specifically which map they're dropping on, right until they do. Each team has 5 minutes to ready up after they've arrived in lobby or after they've returned from a drop. And so right now we're just waiting on that. Once they're ready, we'll verify the decks and drop in. Hope everyone's having a wonderful evening or morning, wherever you are, and enjoy the show. Teams are still working on getting things set up. Waiting for that.
Alright, so it looks like both teams are almost ready to go here. So what are your predictions for this this second round of DFA versus SA?
You know, at the risk of eating my words, I'm just gonna go with safe, very long-range standoffish. Yay! And I'm gonna regret saying that.
Alright. I'm excited to see what they do. I'm sure DFA is ready.
Yep,
I'm sure
DFA
they have
is
some
ready. Okay. Both teams appear to be ready. I will be checking right now.
some trick up their
45
sleeve.
and 350. So both teams are potentially taking duplicates based on their tonnages.
Alright.
And everything does appear to look good.
Alright. So
Hey,
the
yep.
drop one map pools, Canyon, Mining, and Bog. Let's roll the map and see what we get.
And the map that we have chosen for this time around
Has been
is...
chosen by RNG.
Yes.
We don't choose it. RNG chooses it.
I mean, you're not wrong. But I'm lazy, and I just say I chose it because I'm lazy.
Well, if you say that, people might get the wrong idea.
Okay, that's true. That's fair. All right. RNG chose it. Random.org. I didn't choose it. I clicked the button that chose it, but I didn't choose it.
But you did choose to click that button. So, on the technicality... No, I'm kidding.
Is this a philosophical stream? Is this a philosophical stream,
Random
Pickle?
map, let's go.
All right, random map, and it is, oh boy, back on Bog.
Viridian Bog
I wonder where
rematch.
we've seen this before.
Yeah, it's a rematch. This is interesting. All right,
A rematch in a rematch. Let's go.
rematch of a rematch. Viridian Bog. Once again, Smoke Adders versus DFA. Now, I believe last time DFA was on Team 2 side, correct?
Nope. They're Team 1 again.
On the same side, okay.
They're on the same side.
All right. Well, let's see if anything changes from last time. It's going to be pretty interesting here.
Indeed. And so it seems for 228. DFA side, we have Vapor Eagle 1, PPCs, Vulcan, MPLs, Nightjeer, Larges and Gauss, Vapor Eagle 3, ATMs, Sleipnir, and a Javelin.
And a Javelin.
Yep.
Over on...
SA side, we also have a Javelin, 2 Vapor Eagles, Annihilator, Cyclops, and a Piranha.
And a Piranha.
The Annihilator is dual heavy Gauss, as we've seen earlier as well, and the Cyclops for DFA Cyclops is LB40, and Smoke Adder Cyclops is Ultra. It's 4 Ultra 5s.
So once again, this is Domination, Seabiscuit, and Draven. Getting into the circle first with 1 second ahead of Mad Cat in that Piranha and Captain Judas in the Javelin.
Little bit of a flashback right here. Draven and Seabiscuit taking up that cubby, peeking left side, and SA is up on top again, controlling it.
SA is up on top on that left-hand side, taking out that UAV.
We seem to have similar positions from earlier as well. Invictus taking a very, very backside position with his Nightjeer, Pickled Axe, a little bit more... It's a little bit closer this time.
Yeah, a little bit closer to the left-hand side. Giggity Goo and that Cyclops. What's the build on that Cyclops there?
Giggity Goo and Cyclops is LB40.
Is LB40?
4 LB10s.
Is he
Quite a
necessarily effective at that range, where he's at?
Depending on what he's shooting, well, I would say no. You really don't want to be shooting things outside of 450, even if you have an optimal of 600, just because the spread on the LB10s gets a little ridiculous.
Right.
And if you're shooting a light at anything past like 300, oof.
McGrail in this Vapor Eagle.
Oh,
Avoiding
Seabiscuit over there
shots.
trading with Captain Judas. Judas is taking very aggressive pokes. He seems to be losing. Biscuit's completely fresh, but Judas is basically... Oh, yeah, his right arm's
being
wide
aggressive
open.
again. Trying to see if he can maybe get one last poke.
That might not be wise,
but
given that they have the Sleipnir and the Vapor Eagle up high right there, just watching over.
He ended up deciding
Oh
on,
no.
on backing off. Unfortunately, he does take another poke. Gets hit with a face full of missiles. Does put down a strike though. And moves on off over to the right-hand side. Smoke Adders again, heavy control on this ridge.
I suppose it's to maintain circle control, but I'm a little bit confused as to why they are keeping that Javelin there without moving him. They already have a Cyclops in the same position, so you're really just having two mechs bump up against each other in that ridge for DFA's side.
It is possible for Smoke Adders to move one of their lights over around behind DFA. McGrail in that Vapor Eagle, once again pushing up on that far right-hand side ridge.
Yeah, that's a double AC-10 ERPPC special that we've seen taken a couple times.
Invictus doing some damage long range. Pickled Axe and that Vapor Eagle down to 92. Brought the Vapor Eagle this time instead of the Hunchback as before.
Little bit more DPS. Seabiscuit getting chased out by that Piranha right there. He needs to leave. We've got Javelin falling short behind, and Kevster and that Vapor Eagle swinging wide. This is very reminiscent to the first drop of the night. Got Seabiscuit playing around that corner. I think SA really wants to pounce.
Both teams actually playing similar to how they played first round, but you know they have the first round in the bag, so they know what to watch, they know what to look out for, and they know what mistakes they made and how to correct them. So they're playing, both teams playing this rematch here a lot smarter than the first time. They've definitely learned from what they encountered the first time. Doing a much better job here. I'm sorry, I can't talk. Words are really hard.
That's okay. Giggity moving up with a Cyclops right here. There's a strike on that corner. Is maybe going to hit anything? Nope. Midge is a little bit too far back. SA is taking a little bit more of a measured approach on this top end here with the mechs closer towards the center and not spread out so wide. They don't have a Javelin taking free shots this time around.
Now the only problem for 228 here is they're actually almost sightlining themselves from their long-range mechs. Their long-range mechs have actually dropped down off the ridge and are moving up.
They're not going to be able to have sightlines for a little bit at least
seconds.
here.
They're attempting to get some more long-range high ground. SA keeping their positioning.
Yep. Mad Cat and Draven basically playing the same role, just hiding in a corner, maintaining circle control at the moment, waiting for an opportunity. Mad Cat's going to try to get a peek here maybe? Don't know about that.
No
UAV
you can tell
up right
Judas,
now, so that's a dangerous poke.
You can tell Judas wants to be aggressive on this side because the rest of his team is here.
They've got the manpower to do it. It's 5 people.
They do.
If they punch out,
3 at this
I
point.
don't think DFA is going to have the sight lines to punish that kind of maneuver, even though it is a choke point.
Especially since Giggity Goo and that Cyclops there, he can do a lot of damage, but he's only
practically
one
alone
mech.
at this point.
Yeah, he's practically
there's
alone.
Seabiscuit backing him up.
But Seabiscuit's just a Vulcan. Now, we say it's just a Vulcan, but we've seen from RJF some very good plays from Vulcan pilots.
And it begins.
And it is
getting a nasty shot off on Captain Judas, but he's getting collapsed on. Midge and the Cyclops hammering him down. Annihilator's coming
above.
up. Giggity's getting hammered, torn apart. It's about to go down here. Mad Cat and his Piranha just flanking wide, seeing if he can just dive deep into the rest of DFA.
Unfairing and Madge are getting stuck on each other. Giggity Goo does go down. The rest of 228 backing up a little bit, trying to recollect themselves. Mad Cat in that Piranha being very aggressive. We also
with
see
Midge backing off here, the Annihilator's actually isolated in terms of these sightlines. They might be able to sightline the Vapor Eagle, but no, Foxy and the Vapor Eagle goes down. They're just going on continuing this aggression.
Now we also see McGrail in that Vapor Eagle up by Theta, getting a
He's
lot of
just
shots.
firing. He's completely
on
unmolested
Invictus.
from up there.
Mad Cat and the Piranha there.
Can fire with
53%,
impunity.
Kevster down to
The
50.
Annihilator's pushing in.
Invictus taking a lot of damage here, being the only
Annihilator's
target.
halved. They can take him out. Both of the assaults for Smoke Adders are pretty weak, but does DFA have the DPS to take this out? Clean this up? All those mechs, real beat up, sub 50s.
Draven getting in behind, attempting to get in behind Unfairing. Actually ends up ignoring Unfairing and going after Kevster instead. My apologies, he's not actually doing that at all. I'm not sure what Draven is doing at the moment.
Kester's a single ATM 9 at this point, but Invictus finally finishes off.
Down to 48% there. Draven now decides to engage Kevster here in that Vapor Eagle.
But Mad Cat
Invictus
is
goes down.
back.
Invictus takes him out.
Dax is going to have a fun time with this Piranha
This-
here. Piranha's quite beat up. It's halved. He only has 5
There's
micros.
a 1v1 going on here. Seabiscuit versus McGrail. Seabiscuit's pushed up on McGrail here in that Vapor Eagle.
The 2v1 this time.
Oh, Seabiscuit
legged.
goes down. This match could go to either team. Draven here taking out Mad Cat.
Finally cleaned that up. Invictus still alive and crawling. He's legged, but he's got all of his weapons. He's open on both side torsos and cooking.
Firing on Captain Judas there and that javelin.
Judas
Captain
is,
Judas takes a few more hits from that night gear. He won't be able to survive this.
Yeah, Judas is legged and open all over, so it's basically who can shoot the other first. And, Mackerel shows up to...
Invictus
the
goes
odds.
down. McGrail
And down he goes.
saves
now it's
Captain
just
Judas. And now it's
Draven
just
and
Draven.
Pickled Axe.
Draven can still take this. McGrail and
Pickle
Judas
Dax way
very,
behind, though. Draven's just going in.
very damaged. Yes, that's
By
right. He is
himself.
completely alone.
He's one-touch CT. Can he
And
do it?
Draven
No,
goes down.
he can't.
And
Mackerel still relatively fresh, all things considered.
I
Only his left
believe-
torso is open.
I believe Pickled Axe is actually legged.
He is. How slow he's going?
Slower than Draven. That's how slow. McGrail here. What an
Well,
interesting
switching
fight.
legs, finally looking and hitting the right one. Can he win this? Can Dax win this?
He might be able to.
One
No,
more shot, but
unfortunately,
not
he
enough.
doesn't do it. That was
Very
a,
close game, though.
That was a very close game. Look at the damage on McGrail there. 36%, 27% on Captain Judas. Drop
Both of
one,
them were practically one touch.
Yeah, drop one does go to Smoke Adders. That was very entertaining. That match could have gone either way.
Well played to
Definitely,
both teams.
yeah, definitely much smarter plays on both teams compared to what we saw the first time there. So looking at damage numbers here, 515 and 504 for McGrail and Unfairing there. McGrail was typically by himself on the right-hand side of the map for the majority of that engagement, picking apart 228's longer range mechs and shorter range mechs. Unfairing, and that Annihilator there doing 504. Pickled Axe in that Vapor Eagle though, 687, and Invictus doing some heavy damage on SAs. 930.
Very impressive.
Very impressive indeed. Hard fought battle between both teams. Much more meticulous compared to the first round. So, yeah, that was a very interesting fight. Let's take a look at the map strat here on Viridian Bog, and you can run us through your post-game analysis.
I'd say it's pretty much drop one redux, literally.
Draft one, but better.
Same time, like it's the same team sides, same map, very similar decks. We saw the same dual heavy Gauss Annihilator coming out, the Yuak Sleipnir, saw javelins, saw PPCs on both sides. Well, or rather PPC and ultra like AC10s on side of SA, but again, DFA opting to take a sort of Overwatch like so to protect sort of Overwatch like so to protect their inbound team move up here. They kept a Javelin nestled up in that tight corner, and again, SA decided, hey, let's move up, let's take top, we can approach it. 2 lights were the vanguards, and then they moved up their Sleipnir, and then they, again, like you mentioned earlier, moved up that Vapor Eagle over here with his AC-10s and PPC, just able to continue to do trades back and forth along this line. And then it does seem that SA was punished substantially harder for this push this time. They were punished substantially harder, especially with that LB-40 Cyclops just being a stopgap. So by the time they actually got to the main brawl in this orange area, well, it was pretty close on either end.
Yeah,
and
it was
then
very close.
from there on, it broke into 3 fights. Well, 2 fights all over the place.
Yeah,
you had a fight.
There was fights going on all over the range of that circle. It was kind of difficult to keep track of everything, but yeah, like as you said, that Cyclops doing some heavy damage to SA's mechs up at the beginning of that push, and yeah, it was very, very even for pretty much the entire duration of that fight.
Then at the end, there's a couple of imbalances, like there were just 1v1s that suddenly turned into 2v1s.
Yep.
And then that won the fight, and then Draven diving off on his own, maybe not entirely realizing that Pickle Dax was legged and not able to back him up, or maybe he was a little bit overconfident, thought he could take out that Vapor Eagle. Regardless, I think a little bit more communication from either side would have made it much more decisive, but
I agree.
those are all hypotheticals.
Yes, all hypothetically speaking. What happened is, of course, what happened, and yeah, as I said, it was a very, very tight, very tough fight. Both teams, they want to win, of course, so they're gonna give it their
hard
best
fought
shot.
and well fought.
Yes, very well fought indeed. Let's take a look at the post-match stats between the teams here. I'm gonna put that up on screen.
Percentages, yeah, the Javelin and the Vapor Eagle were down to 27 and 36% respectively. 1 shot each would have taken them out clean.
You did mention that Javelin there was legged when Invictus and the Nike was pressuring him there at the end.
Yep, legged and open all over. That being said, looking at the high damage numbers from DFA, while props to them for being able to put down that firepower, it also speaks to how well SA was able to basically just keep rotating the armor, keeping people alive for as long as possible. Their damage numbers were substantially lower, but they, again, still managed to get 2 more kills, although just barely. Alrighty, we have one team ready, waiting for the other. They still have about 2.5 minutes. Then they'll have to ready up.
So remind me again, Matt, the winner of this current bracket goes where and does what?
So the loser of this bracket is unfortunately eliminated, and the winner moves on to play against RJF.
And that's the finals.
Yes.
Okay.
So because RJF has not yet lost a match, whoever goes up is going to have to fight an uphill battle. They'll have to win twice.
Okay. Should be
Win
interesting.
2 sets.
So
As we
Team
wait.
1 looks like they're locked, just waiting on Team 2 to finalize their selections.
Yep.
We'll move on over to Drop 2.
Getting close. There we go. Alright, second team is now ready. I'm double checking. See? One. Indeed, the math checks out for one of the teams. And indeed, the math checks out for the next team. And Pickle, are you ready?
Gotta love that math. Yes, I am.
Indeed. And let's see where we go this time. Here we go. Oh, ho, ho, ho. This has got to be the most coincidental. Alright, I'm not going to tell you.
It's not. It's Tourmaline Desert, folks. It's Tourmaline Desert once again.
I didn't tell you.
We're not making this stuff up.
You can't make this up. Holy moly. You cannot make this up.
Exactly the same maps as about 2 hours ago.
So the question is, did they bring the same maps?
That's the question that remains. Are these going to be full reduxes of the same matches that we saw earlier? Random says RN Jesus.
I'm unfortunately not RNGesus. Please take your complaints to him. I am simply the messenger. Don't shoot the messenger.
Alright, dropships are inbound. What do we have?
Alright, we've got Pickle Dax, Hunchback 2CA, Foxy in the Night Cheer, Turbo JLo in the Annihilator. Oh, I wonder what's in that Annihilator.
Draven
Another
and
Night
Seabiscuit.
Cheer, 2 Piranhas. Basically the same deck from DFA.
The same
we've
deck
got
from DFA.
Piranha 3, Vapor Eagle 2 Vapor Eagles from Smoke Adders, a Marauder 2C8, a Warhammer 6D, oh, ER Larges, and Hellbringer Virago, also ER Larges. Similar deck.
Shots already being fired from 228 and Smoke Adders long range mechs. Foxy
Indeed.
and Turbo in that Annihilator and Night Gear. Foxy taking some PPCs.
And we see Seabiscuit and Dravencolt in their little cubby the Piranha cubby.
Unfearing actually shut down there in that Mad Cat. Marauder, my apologies. Kevster.
Take a bit of an overheat there.
Kevster in a Warhammer instead of Hellbringer, as he was before. Also with his little buddy Unfearing.
Yeah, Midge taking the Hellbringer this time instead of the Sunspider. Pickle Dax playing a lot more aggressively, maybe realizing from last time around that, hey, this location was very vacant. Maybe I can go a little bit aggressively here. Then
Seabiscuit
Annihilator
in their little hole.
Still there.
Mad Cat in the Piranha, McGrell in that Vapor Eagle. Mad Cat taking the Piranha this time instead of the Incubus. Not being as aggressive as he was before. However, Captain Judas fairly aggressive.
Much more
with his
aggressively
PPCs.
here with his Pop-Tarts. Probably safer than the Incubus just charging in straight up.
For sure, you've got those jump jets and you've got those high mounts. So, very Summoner-esque. You can take some very good, very efficient pokes with a Pop-Tart high hardpoint mech such as that. Hunchback, Summoner, Vapor Eagle, for example.
Though the Vapor Eagle's a little bit more disposed to being a side peeker, its mounts are actually closer to the lower half of its torso, slightly below the cockpit.
Midge in a small little crevice up here on this hill here.
I think Unfearing actually slipped down to avoid fire and had to take the long way around, but we just see the Piranhas for DFA sitting fat and happy in their cubby as per usual. This time around, the timers have normalized. Smoke Adders had a slight advantage, but with the generator being taken out, it's 1 minute to 1 minute.
Mad Cat and that Piranha getting up on that slope there.
Captain Judah seeing if he can take some cross peeks over, try to maybe hit that Annihilator, that Night Cheer. Foxy just trading back, taking shots. They're taking, again, the standoffish position, lots of shots being traded back. I don't think the Annihilator's having a best of times here, whatnot, with its low mounts and incoming PPC fire. Not much seems to be happening in center circle.
Taking a look at Pickle Dax here in that Hunchback, keeping an eye on Unfearing and the Warhammer.
I wonder if Seabiscuit and Draven realize that they have a Piranha neighbor that just moved in next door. There's no UAV up. Do they have seismic?
nonetheless.
Yes,
Both-
actually, Seabiscuit has taken seismic. He's very well aware that he has a neighbor right next to him.
Oh,
So,
PPC
Mad
is being
Kid,
fired
no.
on Draven there. From
Doesn't seem to have hit anything.
No. A little bit of a warning shot saying, hey, I see you. Stay in your little cubby hole. Both Seabiscuit and Draven hugging this little crevice. Very, very smart play.
You know, I don't think that
Madcat
Mad
being a
Cat.
little aggressive here on
I
the
don't think
side.
Mad Cat took seismic.
Surely his team would have told him where those lights are, though.
Surely, but those lights from that's a 2-on-1 anyways. He doesn't want to tussle with that.
There's a lot of long-range fights going on here. Foxy down to 73 in that night gear. Turbo down to
Pickle
86.
Dax is
Invictus
going
in the night gear,
super
moving on
wide.
over to the far left-hand side. He is in behind Smoke Adder's lights. Take a look at this. He's in behind
Ooh.
Mad Cat. And
He's getting
McGrail
punished
here.
for this. He's getting punished for these peaks, though. He's not able to trade back effectively against McGraw and that Vapor Eagle. Much more agile.
Both strikes come out.
But that strike's going to
Invictus
go wide.
does have more firepower in that night gear.
Oh, no. As I say that, 2 shells hit him. Oh, I eat my words
Massive
right there.
amounts of damage on Invictus there. I think.
Yeah, most of it through his back, though.
I think really good idea, but poor execution on his part.
I think he probably wanted another. You probably want another mech to do that. The Night Gear just isn't quite effective for trying to take on such a mobile mech with that kind of terrain right there. McGraw's pretty safe from where he's at.
Draven
He's
Call
not in
just
any
holding
danger.
that side there.
Captain
Judas,
Judas,
still
meanwhile, is still trying to take some aggressive trades here, but he seems to have backed off a little bit. His right torso is red armor, so
he's probably the
few
one.
good shots would probably take it clean off.
He's probably the one with the main scouting info for Smoke Adders, taking shots
Probably.
on Invictus there.
Oh,
Invictus jumping
DFA's
through
lights
window.
staging. Looks like they want to pounce.
They are
Seabiscuit's
doing
going
it.
in on
They're
on a fresh piranha. That
going
might not
after
be the
Mad
target
Cat.
he's looking for.
McGrail pulling off.
Yeah, Draven Cold staying and trying to push them off.
There's
They've managed
no
to repel
strike on
them for a bit.
though. Luckily that
Strike
strike
goes wide.
missed. 228's lights
Foxy's
now
standing
down
onto the open.
Fox 7 side.
A
Probably
lot
going to
of
move down the
rotation
ramp.
out into the open areas. I think this actually provides Smoke Adders the advantage, as they'll have better Pop-Tart lines with Captain Judas right there. And
Seabiscuit
going low.
heavy on the engagement here against McGrail. Unfortunately, Draven was a
What are
little
DFA's
slow on
lights
the draw
doing?
there.
They're going wide.
It
Are
looked
they
like
trying
they
to go
were-
for a sneak attack?
It looked like that's what was going on, but unfortunately they weren't together and not able to do it. Mad Cat here. They've got themselves into a bit of a sticky spot here because now they've got Mad Cat coming to them. They might be trying to dislodge the Hellbringer on Smoke Adder's side.
They've already managed to start to dislodge Invictus. He's really beat up from previous trades, and Pickle Dax just climbed up from the pit, but he's getting hammered on by
Turbo
this
JLo
Marauder.
pushing into the open here. And that Annihilator
Into a firing line.
into a firing line. He's heavy
JLo's
damage.
going-
He's dead.
Oh, down they
Down
go.
he goes.
Pickle Dax with
Pickle
a
Dax.
rainbow, with a rainbow appearance of their armor percentages. Dravencolt is healthiest. Seabiscuit's still relatively healthy, but again, he's a light mech,
There's-
not much armor.
There's a
They're
lot of
engaging on the
1v1s going
Hellbringer.
on here.
They might be able to take him down.
Captain Judas seems to be unaware
And they do.
or uncaring that
Oh no,
Draven and
Seabiscuit just got legged.
Seabiscuit
and-
goes down. Draven might have to back off here. He is.
This isn't a
He's
light fight
playing
that they
smart.
can win. That's a laser prana against a machine gun prana,
Draven-
and none of them are open.
Draven's playing very smart here, backing off, turning back
But
around, seeing
engaging
if
might be a
maybe
mistake.
He
This engagement is a
Oh, he
mistake.
just
He's
got legged.
He just lost his leg. He's not going to be able to do anything.
Invictus
to
and
this prana.
Foxy just got killed there by Smoke Adder's Marauder.
Pickle Dax is still trying to
Draven
fend
Call
off.
does go down. Pickle Dax, surprisingly, is still alive. And he
Not
goes
for
down.
long.
And that is it for 228. DFA. DFA
Jeez.
does now finally get eliminated. Is that correct?
That is correct.
All right. Seabiscuit says, now it's time to drink. So let's take a look at some of the damage numbers here. Captain Judas, 600 damage in that Vapor Eagle up at the spire there. Kevster in that Warhammer instead of the the Hellbringer doing 531. Now look at the damage numbers of Invictus, Foxy, Shropus, and Pickledax there on DFA side. Not a lot of damage numbers, so it looks like they may have, unfortunately, been missing a lot of their trades.
Missing a lot of their trades. They did actually move him out earlier, so with Invictus and Foxy, they did shift them to the left unlike last time, and they made earlier aggressive movements, but that might not have been what they needed, especially since they have those late game piranhas with 2 machine guns. Even on a 2-on-1, you're going to have a difficult time finishing off a fresh singular laser piranha, whereas that piranha can just turn at you, say, hey, here's 50 points of damage on your leg, goodbye.
That's true. Let's take a look at the map strat here.
We had was early spread, SA opting to put a Marauder in the back, again, someone up high in the ridge, and camp people down low near Death Valley in the lower area near the circle to maintain circle control. DFA, I think, realized from early on and from previous match that SA wasn't entirely interested in keeping control of Alpha side this lane and was able to send Pickledax out earlier here, where he unfortunately got kind of lodged up top and got shot from multiple angles. They did move the Annihilator to this position, which I will mark in green, instead of the previous position they had last time in orange, much earlier, and they moved the Night Jeers. They put the Night Jeers in basically the same places as well, here, and they again had their wonderful little Piranha Gank squad right there. Or sorry, right there.
All right, I'm just
right there.
trying to get the leader of SA in here for a interview.
Alrighty. I will continue to get this. And basically, with the long-range trades going out, it just seems that SA had a little bit of a dominant hand there and was able to put down more damage and pressure DFA into making a move early on. The timer was practically a non-factor as both teams were 1 minute to 1 minute, but a couple of bad pokes out here by their Night Jeers and a couple of movements out wide shifted the playing field. So you had DFA basically set up along here and then having their lights to attempt to make a wide flank out this way, which was unfortunately unsuccessful, versus the rest of SA, which were able to basically just collapse inward, maintaining their Vapor Eagle sightlines and just finish off just through trades and through the Hunchback falling down into the pit, completely annihilating each aspect of the map without having to worry about too many other factors.
All right, if we're done with the map strat, I'll put the post-match stats up on screen, and you can talk about that. We are currently...
Stats should be up if I...
Right. We're currently still waiting on getting a interview here. Seabiscuit is ready to go. We're just waiting on SA. Stats are up.
Alrighty, looks like they're both in channel, ready to go ahead and start the interview.
Yes, let's get on over to Discord and do the interview.
Indeed.
Some torture chamber or something.
Hey guys, how you doing?
We're alright.
They're okay.
So how'd you feel about that the rematch here? Same maps, same looked to be more or less the same decks. Between the rematch and the first matches that you guys had, Seabiscuit, I'll start with you, and then we'll go to Unfairing. What did you change up? What were your plans? Sorry, here, let me ask you one question instead of asking you more than one question.
Sounds good.
Compared to the first set of matches, what did you guys decide to change up for the second round? Seabiscuit, let's hear from you first.
In drop 1, we wanted to keep just about the same plan, but we wanted to have an assault mech that was a little bit better in close combat, like close range fighting, and we wanted to get rid of the hunchback for a better PvC mech. So we brought in that Vapor Eagle with the 3-air PvCs that Dax was in, and he did pretty well in it. And then we changed the Annihilator to the Sleipnir.
All right, and then Faring, what about you?
I think we switched pilots for something, and yeah, I think that's one of our pilots just wanted to play something else, and then we just kind of were thinking, well, we got a lucky strike, but they were in like a decent position to trade against us, so maybe they'll try to do it again. So we were kind of expecting similar thing, but we didn't change too much aside from just swapping some pilots.
All right.
Yeah, we
sorry.
we just wanted to be. Yeah, I was just saying we just wanted to be a little bit more aggressive on like the side closest to the out of bounds wall, and then I don't know.
All right. Well, it definitely did look like both teams had, having had you guys play the same maps with the same decks, it looked like you had ironed out some of the issues that you experienced during the first set of matches, and the first match there was very, very close. It was very entertaining to watch.
Yeah, we threw the shit out of it.
So, yeah. So like I don't really have any other questions here for you besides like what were your expectations? Seabiscuit, I'll get you here. Did you expect anything different from SA in terms of decks or strats, or did you expect them to kind of bring the same thing that they brought the first time?
In drop 1, I kind of expected them to bring about the same. Just those positions from Team 1 side on. If you have something that can trade pretty well, like that Night Gear or the Vapor Eagle, it's hard to play anything other than pretty much what they did against it.
Fair enough. And then on Faring?
Oh, sorry, what was the question?
Well, the question was, did you expect anything? Like, what were your expectations, or what did you think DFA was going to bring? Like, did you think they were going to bring something different? Second round versus first round?
For Viridian or like overall?
Overall.
No, I think first one we BGI aim, and then so I feel like Toothpaste would want to try again the same idea at least for that first one. I did feel like that Annie was playing at the wrong range with AC2. On the second one, they did it pretty well and we played into it, so we also felt like they would play the same thing.
All right. So both of you kind of had the same idea, just bring the same thing that you brought round one and just roll with it, play it better than you did the first round. Seabiscuit, I'll start with you. How did you guys feel going up, doing the same round, same match, same map against SA? How did you guys feel about that that second Viridian drop? Do you guys feel that you did a better job than the first time?
Oh, definitely. I think we should have had that game if we would have fought together against that last Vapor Eagle instead of going in one by one.
And then Faring, what about you?
I'm just trying to find a sixth pilot because apparently we're playing internationally.
That is correct. Yes.
All right, so I don't have any other questions. So once again, guys, Unfearing and Seabiscuit, thank you guys for taking the time to interview with us.
Hey, no problem. Thanks for having me.
No, you're welcome.
Yeah, thanks for casting.
Yeah, GG's.
All right, Matt, moving on over to back to TeamSpeak here. So what are we looking at in terms of the next round of matches here?
This one will be potentially the final set, depending on who wins tonight, or who wins in this set. It'll be RJF versus SA,
All right.
as SA did win and are moving on. Let me contact. I think there's been a question about the scheduling. I'll need just a moment.
All right, folks watching the stream, we're just waiting on some final things here involving scheduling, and then we should be good to go for the final round of the Summer Grand Prix. Should be RJF versus SA. So we've definitely seen some very interesting and very exciting drops tonight. Some very aggressive plays coming from RJF. Some very meticulous and very well thought out trade matches between SA and 228 DFA. Some very good drops. Very exciting to watch. Very exciting to cast. And I do hope everybody out there is enjoying the show. There's just a small delay here as we finalize some schedules and get things rolling here. So just bear with us for just a few minutes.
The final decision is that because there are potentially 2 sets remaining, We will play the first one, and if SA wins, the second set will be played tomorrow.
All right. Cool. So the first set's going to be played tonight. RJF versus SA. If SA wins, second set tomorrow, 9 p.m. EST. Same channel, same time. If RJF wins, what does that mean, Matt?
Then RJF are the winners.
Then RJF are the champions. All right. I'm excited to
Right,
see how this plays out.
Indeed, both teams have been invited. We're just waiting on them now.
All right.
Go ahead, make sure the scoreboard has been updated, which it looks like it has. Righty.
So once again, guys and gals out there, we're just waiting on teams to join the private group, and we will get going on this final fight of the night. RJF versus Smoke Adders.
So,
Apologies
for
on
the
that.
matches,
That was my
yeah.
roommate being loud.
Worries. So, for the matches tonight, the last one was quite close. Very interesting. Which one was your favorite tonight?
Yeah, the DFA versus Smoke Adders. What one was my favorite? At first, I actually thought it was going to be the the first Tourmaline drop between Smoke Adders and DFA. But then I saw the second Tourmaline drop and was completely blown away. So, definitely the second set of matches between Smoke Adders and DFA. Very well played by both teams. Very interesting to see what they decide to do and what they decided to go for, how they changed things up compared to the first match, and yeah, those matches, especially that Viridian Bog, super close. Everything hinged on a few mechs there near the end.
Very close fight.
Very
A
exciting.
couple of positioning or communication differences might have swung it either way more decisively.
Yeah, for sure.
Honestly, for me, not necessarily the most interesting in terms of, I guess, mech variety, but is the diversity that RJF took when they swapped out. They actually managed to maintain a very similar playstyle where they do a slow, aggressive, well, slow is relative, but a measured aggressive push versus SA the first time around, when they took a more UAC 5, UAC 10 oriented deck, pushed in over on Canyon, and then they turned around and did the exact same thing practically on Grimplexus, a much wider, much more rangy map, and with AC2. So they just said, oh hey, we have DPS. Hi, we're pushing. Goodbye. Just rolled over.
That is indeed what they did. They also did that on the Canyon drop as well, RJF. Not giving SA any time to set up a proper long-range engagement. Heavy push. It surprised me how aggressive RJF's lights were, especially on that first Canyon drop. Just completely catching SA's mechs. I believe that was their lights and mediums with their pants down, more or less, and then kind of pincering SA into a spot where they weren't able to capitalize on any sort of movement or anything. Yeah, so great job by RJF. Should be interesting to see what we see here. RJF versus SA. So SA knows what's, they know what RJF did in terms of the first rounds of matches. So we might see something similar to what we saw with SA versus DFA. We might see the same thing. SA's been in pretty much all the drops here, so they're doing a very good job here tonight. So it's going to be interesting to see if they have the endurance, because that's a lot of matches played.
Yeah,
a full
apologies
set of
for
matches
the delay right now.
with RJF.
We're still
a full set of matches, two sets of matches versus DFA, and they pulled out victorious both times. So should be interesting to see what we see here.
Yep.
Yeah, and there is just a small little delay here, so apologies on that, ladies and gentlemen. We are just waiting for SA to get into the lobby here.
Alrighty, we've got them in.
All right, SA is now in the lobby.
Yep, 5-minute countdown from now.
Match may be starting sooner if both teams set themselves up and get ready to go.
Indeed.
Should be fairly interesting to see.
Okay. Waiting on. Waiting on teams to ready up.
All right. SA is ready to go. I'm gonna take a look at the maps here.
Yep, double checking each team, making sure everything's alright. 5, yep.
All right, let's roll the map, see what we get.
Oh, whoops.
Ah,
Sorry.
Yeah, there we
Yep.
go. Put me back.
Yep. Everything seems to be in order and checks out. And then let me double check this. Alrighty.
Will it be
We're good to
Viridian?
go.
Or will it not be Viridian?
I don't know.
Unfearing
Here it
says
is.
he thinks it'll be Viridian.
And Unfearing will be click incorrect.
What map is
Because
it?
we're going to the good old classic, the Mining Collective.
Oh, the Mining Collective. Okay. Switching things up here.
I think that's the first time tonight that we're playing a Mining Collective.
That's the first time tonight we're going to see Mining Collective. So it should be interesting to see
Indeed.
what we see here. In terms of predictions, we've seen a lot of very, very aggressive pushes from RJF, so I'm thinking we will probably see something around the same thing here on Mining Collective.
So SA did take 335 tons, if I recall correctly. So they actually have 2 sets of duplicates. They have 2 Black Lanterns, 2 Assassins, missiles, of course, a Vapor Eagle 3, and a Mad Cat Mark II Bravo, which is Ultras. On RJF's side, we have an Annihilator 1A, Summoner, a Vapor Eagle 2, 2 Vulcans, and an Assassin. That Summoner does appear to be Daka. Vapor Eagle is 2 LB10s and an ERPPC. A little bit of a variation from what we saw from SA earlier, but they did take this previously. Annihilators, 5 UX5s.
McGrail and Mad Cat here, getting into the circle early. Captain Judas and I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce that name. Midge and the Assassin over there on the other side. Terminator, slow to the circle here in the Assassin. So Smoke Adders has a 11-second bonus on the timer.
Smoke Adder seems to have a very aggressive deck, though, looking to maybe capitalize and push something. The only real slow mech they have is that Mark II Bravo in the back. Terminator's alone in his Assassin. He's seeing a couple Daka shots coming in. Does he notice those black liners? Likely, yes. The Vulcans from RJF see them cross over on Theta.
Now, Smoke
They moving
Adder's
in.
lights do have cover from that main building here, but look at Slave Labor. Again, being very aggressive against Smoke Adders. Mad Cat there in the Smoke Adder's team, though, also being counter-aggressive.
Getting backed up. Oh,
Taking
Volkov
some
is
back
taking
shots by, yeah, Volkov there.
I feel like SA is attempting to regroup and maybe take an aggressive push. Kevster, however, took a... Oh, he almost got headshot there.
Looks like that's what Smoke Adders is attempting to do. They've amassed their forces
Oh,
up here.
Mad Cat's gone out by
pushing.
himself. He's solo. 1v3, though. Mackerel joins him close by. Judas and Midge are diving in. Mad Cat's about to go down here. Pushing into 3 of RJF. They've managed to catch Terminator here in a 2v1, but not for long, as the Annihilator, Pelmashek in the back, is still laying down a lot of fire. Smoke Adder seems to be a little bit disorganized in this push, not able to quite focus down a single target yet. Captain Judas is getting quite low here.
Slave Labor does go down.
Indeed he does. Judas is almost legged. Midge over in the Assassin, still relatively healthy. Getting beat on by the repeated Daka from up high, though. That Summoner doing a lot of work. Unfearing finally making it to the fight.
Unfearing doing
now
a really
he's
good
getting
job.
He's getting hit by that Summoner.
He's actually done a really good job of firing on RJF's mechs.
Indeed. His right torso is about to pop, though. Maybe they can get that Assassin. It's only down to 28. It's down to 28%.
It's a 2v1 situation going on here.
Those machine guns doing work, and yes, he does manage to take him down.
Very aggressive, learning from what RJF did last time, and being counter-aggressive against them.
Mark IV in the Vulcan is one-touch CT, left leg still standing, right leg is gone though, so he's not very mobile.
RJF's
can do something.
Summoner here.
Oh, and they take him off.
Staying up top here.
It's just the Summoner now.
It's just the Summoner left.
He's only got 24 rounds left. 18.
McGraw
he jams.
Trying to get on his back here.
It's 3-on-1 right now. I don't think he has the ammo to clean this out.
He does end up dropping down into that little cubby.
Indeed.
He doesn't have much of an option other than to stay inside that circle.
Oh, he's not in the circle yet. He has to get into it.
The timer is counting down. He's got to make a push. He's going for it.
He's got 3 rounds in a dream right now.
3 rounds in a dream.
And no more ammo, unfortunately.
And now it's just the dream.
That aggressive play really turned out in SA's favor.
Oh yeah, very aggressive play by SA. Very good job on their part. 3 mechs left on their team. Magoat, Unfearing, and I didn't catch the last name. Both heavily damaged. But yeah, that was a very, very different turn of events considering what we saw last round, SA versus RJF. So SA definitely turning the tides here.
Take the initiative and just push on through with it.
Yeah, exactly. Very good job on SA side there. SA Kevster and that Vapor Eagle doing 880 damage. 615 from Unfearing there in that Marauder 2C. Again, taking 4 of those kills on RJF side. Doing a very good job. Now, Desertru there on RJF's team there doing 672 in that Summoner there up at the top doing a lot of damage to SA, but unfortunately SA had other plans. They said, look, we know what you did to us last time. We're not going to let that happen this time.
Not this time.
We saw some very, very exciting gameplay there. Let's take a look at the map. Mining Collective.
Indeed.
And I will let you give a post-game analysis of that match. Take it away, Matt.
Indeed. So, what we saw was an aggressive movement by SA, and actually they went ahead and... Oh no, the map strat. Thank you. Oh dear. Sorry about that, technical difficulty. Setting up an initial position right here and gathering their teammates, Macraw and was it Midge in the Black Lantern, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
Yes, but in the Black Lantern, making a play up on Theta and setting... Whoa. Yep, making a play up on Theta. Oh my god, I'm sorry, this map strat seems to not enjoy being drawn on today. Making an aggressive move up on Theta, coming around and linking up with their team before finally just going out for a full-on push this way. Full-on push across crossway and diving out. They managed to regroup, push around, and then just dive out across the barrels and just slam them down. RJF did have Overwatch at the backup and the Summoner up here doing a lot of work, but ultimately just didn't have enough ammo to clean it out. The initial trades, so to speak, for kills was a little bit roughshod, with SA taking heavy losses initially, but managing to claw it back. And I find it very interesting, especially because we've seen this before, where I think it was Snackwatch Snackwatch and DFA both actually took an under-tonned deck, opting to take a 20-ton penalty for 2 pairs of duplicates. SA took this same took the same option, did 2 duplicates, and managed to just push through, heavily aggress, take out their tonnage. The Summoner went down, Annihilator went down. Very good aggressive play, very solid. Alrighty. Now we're just setting up for round 2, again on domination. Welcome back. Alrighty. You know, I'd like to go over the aggregate statistics at some point in time in the future, but I find it really fun to see a lighter deck. Like, you're down basically 20 tons, and you still manage to pull out with a victory just by going really aggressive, taking mechs with just better armor, better mobility, and just tanking it, focus firing down, and just blitzing in. I find that to be a very entertaining playstyle. So, I don't know how, I guess, like, the damage to tonnage ratios were for previous matches last week, but I'd like to probably look at that at some point in time as a personal interest.
Well, it's good that you say that, because all these matches are actually, all the data for these matches is actually going to be compiled together and sent off to Incoming Missile Podcast, where they're going to basically compile the data and basically talk about what like how all the matches turned out, percentage-wise, stats, all that fun stuff. So I'm sure that, like, probably a week or so after it gets submitted to them, they're gonna come out with their podcast on that. So make sure you're gonna want to make sure you tune into that to see what they say.
Yep.
So round
I'll
2,
be looking forward to it.
RJF versus Smoke Adders. Almost ready to go here. What are your predictions? We saw last game. What do you
Well,
think of
SA
it?
took a very aggressive deck, under-tunned, substantially under-tunned, like I mentioned earlier, and managed to take it to RJF, push through, break through their Overwatch, and just clean up really well. I don't know how well that'll work on a larger more open map, but given that it is domination and you're still clustered into dealing with that circle, it's still very, very possible that they could pull it off, depending on what map they're on.
It is indeed. I think, well, we saw RJF make a very good push on Grim Plexus, so if we do end up getting a longer range map, I think, you know, either team is capable of making a close range brawl situation.
Yeah, given the, I guess, struggles that RJF, or not RJF, sorry, that SA had when doing range against RJF, I think maybe they might try to do that aggressive playstyle like we just saw, but potentially they might say, hey, we know where we made mistakes last time, we know how we can brush up on it, and we know that we can play this better and take it to them and outtrade them or prevent them from aggressively pushing us in.
Yeah, and we kind of saw that on that first drop on Mining Collective, SA bringing close range mechs being just as aggressive as RJF were to them in the previous round, and it worked out very well for them. They were actually able to take out RJF's mechs and win that round. So it's going to be very exciting and very interesting to see what both teams bring tonight for this next match, and see what Smoke Adders does.
Indeed.
So we're just waiting on Smoke Adders to ready up. They've got 2 minutes left.
Had less than 2 minutes, but yes, indeed, about 2 minutes left. Got a minute left on the clock. Then they'll have to ready up. Wonder what map we're going to get this time.
I hope for Tourmaline, and I hope not for Tourmaline.
Tourmaline getting a little bit boring for you?
Well,
Okay.
I've seen it enough today.
Fair
Actually,
enough.
I don't have any preference towards which map I'd like to see. I find it interesting to see how, especially with the specific rule set of this tournament, where you don't know what map you're going on to until you drop. So
Oh, perfect. Teams are both ready. Time to double check the math on this.
So I'm excited to see what map we get and how each team handles that.
And it appears that everything looks good.
Everything in Ordis.
Was that a pun? And indeed, it does look good. All right. So, roll the map.
Do you want a drum roll? I'll give you a slow
Sure.
drum roll.
Slow drum roll. Dum, 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 dum. And it is, for the first time of the night, Rubelite Oasis.
Rubelite Oasis. Oh boy.
Ooh boy.
Oh boy. Okay, let's see. Rubelite Oasis. Yeah, you're right. We have not seen this map yet tonight. Rubelite, another good map. Very well rounded. Lots of angles of attack and defense.
Lots of options. You can make a aggressive push work on this one. Might take a little bit creative routing, but it is possible. You can likewise just sit back, enjoy the view, or the smoggy view, I guess,
The
and
smoggy
trade.
view.
Yeah. Fortunately, the air is not what I would call clean.
Not very clean. You wouldn't want to open up your cockpit and sit on top of your mech here.
Nope. So, for our Smoke Adder side, we have 2 Vapor Eagle 2s, 2 AC-10, and 2 PPC specials coming out. Midge in that Medium Pulse Vulcan, Unfearing in an AC-2 ERPPC Annihilator. Captain Judas in his good old CERM Assassin with 2 Flamers. For RJF, we've got the Annihilator 2A, also AC-2s, and an ER Large instead of ERPPC, maybe a little bit faster or more ammo. Wolfhound 2 for Slave Labor. Vulcan, both of those are MPLs. Desert 2 is in his PPC Summoner. Volkadov is in his 4AC2 Champion. Ooh boy. And Nick is in his 2-air PPC Vapor Eagle.
Alright, so we've got 3 light mechs here on Smoke Adder's side. Inside the circle, RJF, their lights are up top, also inside the circle. Smoke Adder's taking some fire on them already.
Yeah, Smoke Adder has an early 12-second advantage, so they'll be able to maybe play a little bit passive if they so choose to for at least a little while. Probably don't want to sit on their heels though.
RJF UAV goes up, getting an eye from the sky. That UAV will detect Mad Cat and that Black Lantern and Captain Judas here, and that Assassin move on up on this ridge.
Slave Labor realizes this and he wants to back out real quick. He does have the assistance.
Mad Cat's being extremely aggressive.
Ooh,
backing on
Nick
off.
Jazeri backing off as well. Maybe they
Good
don't want to
idea.
deal with this.
That's a good idea. I think, I think Mad Cat may have actually seen RJF's long-range mechs there and said, nope, hit the brakes. This is not the time to push.
Indeed.
Because RJF is making a push.
That's a slow push, trademark slow push right there. They've got a wall of fire walking down, just hammering them. Kevster and Fearing taking a lot of damage from extreme ranges. Unfearing right now is actually, he's relatively healthy, but orange armor, both side torsos. Kevster losing both of his arms. Don't need those though. You need the torso, so he wants to keep those.
Unfairing taking and dealing damage. Unfortunately, it's a lot of early damage in that Annihilator.
Percentages not looking good for SA at the moment. These are some very unfavorable trades armor-wise.
He makes the decision not to drop down. I think that may have been a mistake for him because the rest of his team is not able to actually fire on any of RJF's mechs.
He's getting punished for his position, but luckily none of his components are open quite yet. This does mean though that RJF don't have to worry about a backline Overwatch. They don't have to worry about backline Overwatch mechs, and they might be able to aggressively take this topside ridge if they so choose to. They seem content with their range at this point though.
Kind of seems like they want to push up on there, but every time they get to about halfway across the ramp there, they decide no. And they move on back. Yeah, you're right. They are fairly content with their range. Now, Smoke Adders still has 12 seconds on that counter. So, Smoke Adders taking a bit of damage. Licking their wounds here.
But the real question is, can you take those 12 seconds and can you convert that into some tangible material gain? Are you going to be able to win it with those 12 seconds? Still got 11:30 on the clock. And you're down, I'd say about 30-some% in armor.
Now, Annihilators do have a lot of armor, so it's going to be interesting to see what we see here. Both teams.
And Fearing staging back up. Little bit nervous about climbing back up this hill. Kevster taking the peak for him, but they're just sitting and waiting. Slave Labor for RJF has switched over to the other ledge, backed up by his champion buddy, Volkadov. He's going to have good lines here to harass SA from, and so he does.
He doesn't have a lot of range in that Wolfhound, though, so
I don't think he needs to. He just needs to play bully for his AC2 champion friend here.
That's true. Now, RJF has actually backed off there in that champion, moving back down the ramp to the satellite.
Took a couple of unfavorable trades, a little bit of damage being recouped here, a little bit of the damage differential being recouped by SA. Though they're still fairly low to the ground, I don't think they have very many angles from where they're standing. Very few Overwatch positions, and the ones that do, Kevster and Unfearing taking a lot of damage if they choose to continue poking this. Kevster actually opened his right torso, almost gone. That's a lot of firepower if you lose that.
RJF slowly moving up on this platform.
They've managed to force Kevster and Fearing to back down a little bit, and it seems this is where they're going to take it. They're going to push up and obtain control of this top side
Now,
platform.
Smoke Adders does have 3 lights on the far right-hand side near the side.
They
of
could
RJF's
attempt an
lights.
aggressive flank right here.
They very much could,
but they
they
need
have
to
to do
get
that
in
now.
the fight soon.
They have to get into the fight yesterday. Midge there, and that Vulcan not moving.
Fearing's completely
I'm not
isolated.
sure-
Kevster and McGrawl are...
I'm not entirely sure why
On the
Midge here
inside.
is not moving, but he's not with his Smoke Adder buddies. It looked like the Captain Judas and Mad Cat, they were going to try to make a move, but Midge stayed behind. Captain Judas and Mad Cat, they are now having to actually retreat a little bit. Smoke Adders sending their champion and Wolfhound lights on over to engage Mad Cat.
Midge
And
is just
Midge.
holding. Maybe he's waiting to regroup.
That was an interesting
Captain
maneuver.
Judas and Mad Cat. Well, they did manage to draw the Vulcan and the Wolfhound for RJF close into this combat. Oh, this might be rough. But Mad Cat goes a little bit too early and just gets focus fired. Not much traded back.
The champion drops down there. Summoners joining him.
Maybe it's possible that Midge is stuck. Might have gotten trapped in the terrain.
He's
He's
still
not moving still.
Yeah, he hasn't moved at all, so it's possible he's unfortunately got himself stuck into this little corner. As
Meanwhile,
I say that,
Fearing just getting hammered.
turns out
losing-
he's not stuck.
Okay, that's good. That's good. He's not stuck.
MK
Fearing,
being
both side
very
torsos
aggressive
are open,
here.
trying to jump that Vulcan.
I'm not
Mark
so
4.
sure. I'm not so sure MK4 knew what was going on there. Unfairing does go down. MK4 does take him out
With a strike.
with a strike. Okay. Wondered how he died there.
Yeah, and Fearing was red torso, both side torsos, so not terribly surprising that a strike would be able to finish him off there.
Slave
Mark
labor in the
4
Wolfhound getting in
being
behind
sneaky,
Captain Judas.
running around here.
Meanwhile, the rest
Mad
of
Cat's
RJF.
hard engaging on that Annihilator, doing a crap ton of damage. Helmashak getting opened up. He's
Getting
about to go down here. He's a stick. He's a single ER large. Nick Drazeri in his Vapor Eagle PPCs probably doesn't want to be at that range either. They're getting caught up in the chaos right here. And with the chaos, they're able to start to pick off. Oh no, Captain Judas goes down. Can they continue this push? Can they continue this aggression? Yep, Nick
They
Drazeri
do
goes
take out
down.
Nick.
Slave Labor
Mad
still
Cat.
very healthy. Mark IV also still very healthy. They're going to be able to finish off McGrawl here in a short moment. Down he goes. Now it's just Midge,
Mad
all
Cat
by
attempted
himself.
to take out RJF's summoner. Unfortunately, couldn't get the job done, and now it's just Midge by himself.
Getting chased down by their wolf pack. Not quite pleasant.
Midge does go down. So the second round goes to RJF.
Dude.
There's a nice Russian Jade Falcon colored summoner.
Very green.
Very green, very Russian Jade Falcon-esque. Jade Falcon, sorry. So let's take a look at the damage numbers here. Both sides fairly equal on the damage. Both teams doing a fairly good job at trading with each other. I want to say I want to say RJF had the advantage there in terms of trading, but if you're looking at the damage numbers, both teams very even.
I would argue the opposite, actually, because they're very even. Note that McGrawl and Kevster did take the AC-10 PPC ones. The Annihilator for Infuriating was, yes, while they also, both sides had AC-2 Annihilators. It seemed that SA managed to bring up the damage differential towards the end, but early on they were bleeding a lot of armor. And I think it would be good for us to go to the map strat to kind of see how that happened.
Sure, let's go to the map strat here. Map strat's up.
So early on, we have RJF deciding, hey, let's make a daisy chain here and send people down, have this walking wall of fire down this ramp. There's a lot of contention going on in this upper area, but it wasn't conclusively rested. No one had conclusively obtained control of it until about mid-game. However, with SA attempting to keep their Annihilator up in this area, it's a little bit rough. It sticks out. The mounts are not very, very high. You're gonna get exposed to a lot of fire, and if half of the enemy team has PPCs and AC2s, you're a very easy target. And what happened is, these mechs here, especially the Vapor Eagle with the AC-10 and the PPC, are just not able to outtrade the other two PPC mechs from RJF's side while they're up high and they have the advantage and they can just stare and shoot at you, particularly because the faster, more mobile elements of SA were not able to capitalize on this sort of static position. And by the time that RJF decided, hey, let's actually move up and let's push, you were seeing the Annihilator and a Vapor Eagle down at 70-some%, which is not great. And as we saw, the Annihilator, being so immobile, was later taken out by a strike, just flat, gone.
Now, another thing I do want to mention, near the middle of that fight, we did see Smoke Adder's lights move around the bottom end of the map here.
They went super wide.
They actually attempted, I believe that's the correct side, they actually attempted to make a little flank there, but unfortunately one of their mechs, it looked like he may have been stuck in this little corner, but as I said, he may have been stuck, he actually ended up moving, so he was definitely not stuck. It's possible he missed the memo that his teammates were moving on that side, but I feel as if SA were to have been able to get some sort of light flanking maneuver going on, they would have been able to dislodge SA's long-range movements and possibly swing that fight in their favor, but unfortunately that was not the case. What actually ended up happening was, due to only having two light mechs there on SA's side, they actually had to double back. They had to go back, which actually caused SA's mechs, RJF's mechs, to actually push on them a little bit, causing a little bit of an engagement near here, and RJF eventually just made a push up this way against Smoke Adder's main force, and that's kind of where the battle ended there. It was all over there at that point. So what are your thoughts on that there, Matt?
That said, it's very possible, because now that I take another look at it, because the Annihilator and Vapor Eagle were being pressured back on SA's side and they weren't able to move up towards the top area, Midge was maybe standing in as a circle control. It's very likely that he couldn't move out with his teammates because that wide flank does take them out of circle for an inordinate amount of time. And because they weren't able to do anything, it just felt that he was stalled, because really, if you can't do anything with those two light mechs, you can't really do it with the 3 if you give up circle control. It just won't work.
That's true. Now, they did have 12 seconds on the timer there, so they could have, if they timed it correctly, they could have made some movement with all 3 mechs and kind of sacrificed that timer. I don't know if that would have been a good idea.
That would have likely clued off RJF, though, if they were paying attention to the timer, that, hey, there's no one in the timer, where could they be?
That's true. That's true. But yeah, still, again, fun and exciting match to watch. Let's take a look at the individual stats here.
Dude, I think it should be updated. Are those stats correct? I do believe they are.
Yes.
Okay. So it's interesting to note that they ultimately did get that Annihilator down at the end, and while damage overall was not that low for the team overall, because Unfearing took so much early damage, that 443 damage could have easily been, what, 600, 650? That could have killed at least 2 of the mechs on RJF's side. And same thing with one of their Vapor Eagles, Kevster. He was the one that was getting hounded early on. He only had 180 damage, so I think if they had preserved early armor a little bit more effectively, they might have been able to claw it back at the end when they went for the aggressive push.
All right, so round 3 going to be
Conquest.
Thank you. I was looking for that word, but it had disappeared from my brain.
That's okay.
Drop 1 and 2 are Domination. Drop 3 goes Conquest. And the random map selection is a 3-way between Forest Colony, Snow, Hibernal Rift, and Frozen City. Last time I think we've only seen Hibernal Rift drop 3 because there has only been one drop 3. So it's going to be interesting to see what map we see next. We got 2 minutes left on the counter for the teams to ready up. Looks like SA is almost ready. RJF still has a few pilots unready. So in terms of the next match, what are your predictions? What do you think we might see from RJF and from SA, considering what we've seen so far?
SA took a full-on, very aggressive push on Mining Collective. Granted, like those sets of matches, Canyon, Mining, Viridian, are a little bit more favorable to close-range engagements and just pushing in CQC, out DPS the opponent, use terrain to your advantage. You could argue that you could do the same thing with Frozen City Knight, Forest Colony, and Hibernal. It's very possible to do that. That being said, it's also very possible, because this is Conquest, to try and play a little bit more standoffish and apply map control, and to try not to die to people early so you can bleed them out over a period of time.
So similar to what we saw from 228's side, when DFA was up against Smoke Adders on Tourmaline Desert. Sorry, what they basically did was, whittle SA down until their light mix could get in for the kill.
Basically. Light mechs at the end of a match are very, very terrifying indeed.
Especially when they're piranhas. Piranhas are hungry. Always
King
ready and waiting
piranhas.
to pounce.
They're out for blood.
Out for
Okay,
blood.
both teams appear to be ready.
All
360, 360. That does appear to look good. And that looks good. Alrighty. And are you ready for the second drop 3?
My body is ready.
Are you sure, Pickle? Are you sure?
My pickle is also ready.
No comment. Alrighty, and we're going to a classic favorite. Frozen City Night Classic.
Frozen City Night, okay. One we haven't seen yet today. Should be interesting.
Indeed.
Actually, I don't think we've seen Frozen City Night at all this tournament. Last
I
week
thought we saw one last week. I could be mistaken.
Last week I remember seeing the classic Frozen.
Forest Colony
Yeah,
Snow.
yeah, Forest Colony, but I don't remember seeing Frozen City. So here we are, round 3. Match 3. SA versus RJF. Let's see what we got.
Alrighty. So, it seems that for RJF side, they're bringing back the Annie, the champion, AC2's Summoner, which appears to be UAC 10s, so aggressive. They've got a Bushwhacker this time, also 2 Ultra 10s, the Wolfhound Vulcan MPLs.
SA also
For
has
SA?
a fairly aggressive deck with a bunch of summoners. They have Arctic Wolves, Assassins, Huntsmans, and a Marauder 2C. What's in that Marauder 2C?
It appears to be 4 ER PPCs, as is usual.
4 ERPPCs, unfairing there.
Devster in that ATM Huntsman, sorry. And the Black Lanner with the SERMs, medium lasers, and heavy machine guns.
So Smoke Adders deciding not to go for any caps just yet. RJF does have the cap lead, taking both
there
Gamma
they go.
and Kappa. Smoke
Mackerel
Adders
and
now
the
have
Black Lanner
Theta.
going to Theta.
Small light pack here with those Assassins and Arctic Wolf. Magrella
Looks
and that
like
Black
taking
Lanner.
a couple of early hits in his champion. They seem to be moving up aggressively towards the center of the map, try to take position up on hill, and crossing over. Whoa, blind cross, just
Crossing
going
on
ham,
over.
going over.
Now, unfearing here in his Mad Cat has almost He's actually sightlined himself from his team because he's slightly below where his team is able to see him.
Yeah, Unfearing is taking a lot of damage from that strike right there, and he's backing up. He's a Gauss PPC Mad Cat, so he might do a little bit better against
He needs
Lights,
to go forward towards his
not
team.
in a 1v4 or 1v5 scenario
Now
right
take
now.
a look at Smoke Adder's Lights. Take a look at where they are.
Unfearing's halved.
They are taking out RJF's Annihilator here. All three of them against RJF's Annihilator. Now RJF's Lights are
Taking
here
a
to
while,
help
though.
out.
Yeah, the Annihilator's leg, he's one touch. His left leg's almost gone. They might be able to clean this up real quickly, but the team's managed to circle back and protect that Annihilator. He's still alive for now.
But he's
Well
heavily,
placed strike.
heavily
Oh,
crippled.
no,
that
that
strike
strike
might
right
just
there.
take him out. There's 2 strikes.
And it does.
It was a team strike.
Oh, no.
There was a team strike. Rest in peace.
Strike goes down. There's a lot of waffling over the dropship right now. Dancing over, tiptoe. Captain Judas moving alongside Kevster.
The amount of UAVs in the air is plentiful. 3 current UAVs from Smoke Adder's side. RJF taking a defensive position.
Yeah, Volkov taking like cheeky angles here, able to get free shots on that Marauder. Lots of damage going down. Midge is still fairly
Mad
healthy.
Cat here in that Arctic Wolf making a very, very dangerous play. I don't know if he knows how many RJF mechs are right here.
Well, he does now.
He is taking a beating. Captain
He does
Judas
now,
comes
and
in
he's
to try and
punished for
help
it.
him,
He's
but he
dead.
goes down. Now they're going to focus on Captain Judas here. Captain
Judas
Judas
is one
needs
touch
to get
from
out of
going
there.
down. His
Oh,
right
he's
torso is
pushing
cherry
right
red.
in.
Oh,
He's
the
pushing
brave
right
dive.
in, and he goes down.
The very brave dive.
Very, very brave. Meanwhile,
We've
over
got
here
McGraw
at
and the Black
Dropship,
Lantern dueling the Summoner right here. The machine gun's doing work on that Summoner who's exposed. He's halved.
the rest of
open all
RJF
over. He's
holding
gonna go
on
down
position.
soon. Down he goes.
Down he
McGraw
goes,
with a
McGrail.
aggressive flank.
McGrail being very, very aggressive. He's got to get out of there. He can't take on all those mechs. Very, very close fight going on right now.
Kester's a little bit out of the fight, separated by 2 vertical terrain and passes right
Unfearing
there.
has
His
a
ATM's
good spot
Not
way at the back of
regging.
the map with those PPCs putting damage downrange against RJF.
with those machine guns and with how relatively healthy McGraw is right now, he could easily clean up that Vulcan right there, Mark IV, and the Vulcan needs to be very careful. Actually, most of RJF is wide open.
MK goes down.
Down. Yep, there it is.
McGrail backing off. Slave Labor trying to take revenge. RJF down to 44%. Smoke Adders very aggressive. Kevster up here on the dropship, trying to fire on whatever he can fire on. Slave Labor doing a very good job trying to be counter-aggressive here. RJF.
Yeah, Nick and his Bushwhacker still. He's actually still fully armored. He's not open anywhere. This is 2 Ultra 10's going to be doing lots of work. Ooh, the PPC
Volkadav
cleans
goes
up.
down.
2v4.
It's a very, very tight fight.
Very close.
It's not over for RJF yet. The damage on Smoke Adder's mechs is severe. Slave Labor and Nick could still do this.
McGraw seems to want to go in for the brave dive.
McGraw
He's
really
got half
wants
his weapons removed, but
He's got to play
still.
very carefully.
RJF does have cap lead at this moment, so they could try to stall for time.
That they do. Unfearing there, and that Mad Cat, Marauder 2C, with those 4 PPCs still looking
Well, 2
right at where
PPCs.
slave labor.
Well, Fearing has a single PPC, a single Gauss at this moment. He's been halved since early game, but he's still holding on to dear life. McGraw there going
McGraw
in bravely,
getting very,
trading.
very
Oh
aggressive.
no!
Nick does
CT
take out
hit on
Kevster.
Kevster.
Smoke Adders.
Zuri is gonna be able to finish off on Fearing here, I think.
Oh,
Yep,
and
down he goes.
Wow.
The machine guns are terrifying in an open mech like this.
McGrail.
But Nick doing a very good job torso
Nick
twisting.
down to 15%, and he
And
takes
down
him
he
out.
goes.
It's just Slave Labor and McGrail left. Slave Labor has more armor in that Wolfhound, probably has more guns. On the offensive, he knows where
definitely has more
McGrail is.
guns.
I don't know if McGrail knows that he's right behind him. Slave Label definitely sees him now, taking the shot.
Blood in the water right here.
Super, super close. What's McGrail at currently? What's his damage look like?
McGraw is halved
Slave
at
labor
this point.
pushing
McGraw's
on
halved at this
McGrail.
point. He's got 2 ear meats, a SERM 4, and 2 heavy machine guns. I don't think that's going to be quite enough to take down the Wolfhound. Very close.
Stranger things have happened. He could play this. If he plays this very, very... he's going right in. He's going right in.
Oh, he's going in ham.
He's going for
it. If he can take out that left torso,
so close.
He can't.
That was a super close fight. And the
Very
match does go
close.
to RJF.
Indeed.
Great job by both teams. Let's take a look at the damage numbers here. Slave labor and that Wolfhound doing 796. Definitely very, very good job. Now look at Palmashek there. He got caught early on. Smoke Adders took him out very early into the fight. And then
47 damage.
accidental team strike was what actually killed him. 47 damage. Take a look
Poor
at Smoke
Palmashek.
Adder's side here. Yeah,
He didn't get to play the video game for long. Just got airstriked by his buddies right there. I mean, granted, he managed to stay alive for a very respectable amount of time, considering he got jumped so close to the edge. But his team did a good job of rotating back, keeping him alive, letting him take fire, even though he was basically stripped at that point.
That's true. They did a very good job of protecting him. Unfortunately, they put a strike down, maybe expecting him to move, and he sat there and said, "I am safe
Excuse
in this
me,
spot."
Expecting an Annihilator to move? What is this?
Annihilators are very slow and do not move very quickly, but
You expect an Annihilator to move?
they
I'm
have
sorry,
they
sir.
have the speed to get out of to get away from a
From
strike.
a strike placed at that angle? Good luck.
I don't know. I don't pile the salt, so I'm not too sure. But I believe. Unfortunately, that is what happened.
believe.
It was very interesting to see. Matt, let's take a look at the map strat here. Again, that was a very, very tight fight. I very much enjoyed that. Let's take a look at the map strat.
Yeah.
And
Very, very early aggressive movement from SA to just go down towards Theta, and then you have McRaw coming in with his Black Lantern and being like, "Hey, I'm actually a light mech. Let me grab Theta real fast." And then they come up, let it go this way. We did see a little bit that Unfearing got caught out closer to Epsi, a little bit closer than he would have liked when those light mechs, or rather the entire team from RJF decided, hey, let's go over dropship, let's go over hill, crow's nest, and then just buckle in, start shooting. At this time though, SA was able to come over and start reacting to them, even so far as sending someone up and catching out that Annihilator, which eventually just evolved into a really tight brawl fight around here, just all around, very messy. Eventually stabilized with SA holding the top half of the circle here. Haha, circle. This is domination all over again. And RJF floating towards the lower ends, and then from there it was just, can we pick this person? Can we pick that person? And McCrawl going in with the really, really, really brave pushes and the heavy machine guns and just tearing people apart. But ultimately, well played, very aggro play, very engaging. It was really fun to watch.
oh yeah, definitely fun to watch for sure. About halfway into that engagement, SA very aggressive up on that dropship area. Yeah.
Alrighty, and I think that does conclude our sets and ultimately this tournament.
That is true. So RJF are the champions of the tournament.
Alrighty,
I'm just seeing if maybe we can get some interviews here.
and I'll go ahead and take care of some paperwork while you do that. I'll be right back.
Sure. But yeah, definitely very fun and interesting drops to watch tonight. Yeah, RJF doing a great job. Smoke Adders definitely a lot, very aggressive compared to the first round they had tonight. Definitely ironed out the issues that they experienced during the first couple of rounds against RJF. And it really looked like they knew what they wanted to do, and they wanted revenge against RJF. You could tell they were very aggressive, and that created some very, very great plays from them. Just seeing here if we can get some interviews. Bear with us for one moment here.
Do you see someone in Discord already? So
Slave Labor is in Discord here. Let's see if we can get SA. See if we can get someone from SA over here.
I believe so, yes.
All right, let's take a look at that post-match stats here. Both teams, SA and RJF.
Indeed, and you'll notice that at the end, it was just Slave Labor in that Wolfhound at 47%. Granted, he was actually still armored all over. Nothing was exposed, so did a very good job of twisting damage and doing a lot of damage. 796, top on his team, surviving till the end. Like we mentioned before, light mechs at the end of a game, terrifying. Especially if they're fully armored and, you know, still got all their guns. It's kind of terrifying.
That's true. It was a very interesting situation there. Black Lantern versus Wolfhound. Could
That said,
have gone either way.
SA did a very good job on taking that early pick on Pelmashek, assisted by RJF, of course.
For sure.
That thanks, Maverick. And Bushwhacker there was able to get decent peaks. Campion doing, second most damage. That thing does a lot of damage. Those AC2s, lots of DPS. On SA side, we had Kevster 647 top damage with those ATMs. Although at the end, he wasn't quite able to get in more damage because of the two boundary separation. He was over on dropship, and the rest of RJF was past dropship, past another set of buildings. So those missiles just weren't going to register. Macrawl doing a decent amount of work, getting 3 kills with his Black Lantern, going in ham. Very brave push. Props to you, sir. I'm not that brave. Also, that's a Black Lantern, that thing. I feel like that thing's a little squishier than I'd like it to be, but that's okay.
I agree with that statement. I would like it to be a little less squishy. So we're just finalizing interviews here. Slave Labor is going to join us. It looks like SA might not be joining us, so I'm going to see if I can get a third person in here, possibly someone from our mod team. If they have any questions. All right, Matt, if you are ready, we can hop into Discord and we can get this interview underway.
Yep, good to go.
All right, head on over to Discord here.
Hello.
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 How are you doing today?
A bit tired, but generally okay.
Understandable. Time zone's a little bit rough for you guys, as I understand it.
Yeah.
But
It's early
great play.
morning. Thank you.
All right, so thank you for Slave Labor taking the time here to come in and interview with us. How did you feel about tonight overall? Like throughout the night, how did you feel about how your team did?
Well, I think we did good. We was sure in our victory. A bit too cocky here in the first drop on mining. But yeah, generally I think we played good.
All right. In terms of you versus SA, what were your expectations? What did you think they were going to bring? Here? Let me ask you this first. What did you think? Well, like, what were your expectations during that first matchup between you and SA? Just the first matchup. We'll get to the second matchup later, but between you and SA on the first matchup you had tonight, what were your expectations? And how did you guys feel about what was going on?
It's not just about the SA, it's about all the teams maybe. We expected some pushes like on the first week most of the teams can't overshoot us on trades. Yeah, and the only option they left that is left for them is to push us somehow. So today we expected a lot of pushes.
All right, and what we saw actually for you guys on that the first matchup was actually a lot of aggressive pushes on your side. Kind of tell us about that. What was like the difference between the first matchup and the second matchup? Because second matchup we saw SA push like fairly heavily against you guys compared to the first round. How did you guys feel about that?
Well, we just scout them and count. So if they push, we just pull back a bit. And if they're staying on long range, we bring our any, send him first and push instead.
And I noticed with the Annihilator, you guys did change it up a couple times, different builds here, there, switching from aggressive to holding back to, at one point on a previous Grim Plexus drop, actually just moving your Annihilator and walking him over. Were you prepared basically for each of those decks to actually just move it up? Did you have a plan to get that Annihilator in the fight, or were you really hoping more, as you said, for them to just kind of push over?
Of course, we want to use it because it's slow, and if we push without him, chances are not good for us. So our game is based on that any. If he goes too slow, like the last game on Frozen City Classic, if he's too slow, he dies, and it goes pretty hard for us to somehow clutch. I hope I answered your question.
That's okay.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
You're doing a great job. Oblivion, I believe you have a question for him.
Yeah, so what in that final game, like that I'm sure a lot of people were on the edge of their seat, right? Like that was an intense game to watch. I'm sure it was an intense game to play.
Indeed.
So what was your strategy going into it, and what how did you have to change it once the metaphorical stuff hit the fan?
I don't clearly understand you. How we changed our strat or what?
Well, it seems like it got a little chaotic there on both sides, right? At least from a spectator's point of
A
view.
bit, yeah.
It seemed like there were periods where it was really action intense, and then there were little lulls and there was a lot of action, and it seemed like you guys probably made a couple of like on the fly decisions there because it was I don't think I would have expected what they did going into it.
No, it was planned to switch sides and maybe a NASCAR later. You stopped and we had to fight.
So you'd
We,
planned on
we
switching sides.
yeah, we had to protect our Annie.
Okay. Okay.
So we had to slow down and fight with it. And you did good on taking it out. He did like 50 damage.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it definitely seemed
was
like that
pretty
Annie got
useless.
focused. Yeah.
This game.
So I do want to ask you about that first mining drop. What we saw was a very different play from Smoke Adders in terms of what we experienced the first matchup between you two. How did it feel going up against them that second time and realizing that they were bringing a much more aggressive stance and an aggressive deck compared to what they brought the first matchup? How did it feel for you guys, and how did you guys handle that like during the match?
Hello.
Hello. Did you hear what were you able to hear me there?
I'm sorry, I thought you were asking Oblivion.
No, that's okay. I was asking you. Yeah, on that first.
Our mediums just stayed for too long on, the center of the map. So they received a lot of damage when falling back. And so, as they received a lot of damage, they couldn't effectively protect our bad focus. Polkadot also went shut down in his chain. So yeah, and I was luckily killed by artillery strike. The first shot of it went into my torso, and I just died. So yeah, some misplay and consequences.
So, after playing through all of these matches, how did you feel about the rule set for this tournament? Did the randomized map pool kind of pose any particular challenges? Planning
for
ahead
sure.
versus different teams?
Yes, it's interesting, especially when each team can play different on these maps. You have to think everything. So yeah, I'm looking forward to play this again next time with more team.
Good.
Hope
That's
you
good to
guys
hear.
will continue it.
We will be having this tournament again. I think in a couple months. There's probably going to be a little bit of ironing out in terms of rules and
Scheduling,
stuff.
communication.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And for our side, as I said, this is our first time organizing and setting up a tournament like this, so there's definitely a bunch of things that we've learned, and we'll try to make it a lot smoother for us and for you guys on the next tournament. So make sure you stay tuned to that.
Yeah,
Cool.
and again, thank you for playing in our tournament, and congratulations on your win today.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for organizing it.
Congratulations, very well played by you guys. It was really nice watching you guys come out and play, especially for as early as it was for everybody on your team.
Thank you.
Yeah, what time is it over there right now?
For me, it's 9 a.m. For Moscow, it's like 8.
Ooh, that's
It's
rough.
Early
coffee
in the
breakfast.
morning. Okay.
I
Hope
think
you
we'll
don't
go
have any
sleep right
plans
now.
for the rest of the day, and that's another thing that we'll try to iron out for the next tournament. We'll try to make it a lot smoother for everybody. So once again, guys, thank you so much for participating. Thank you for taking the time to do that and come in here on this interview. Really appreciate it. Thank you, guys, and again, congratulations on your win.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. So, Oblivion, Matt, what are your thoughts on tonight? Did you enjoy the matches?
Oh, I really enjoyed the matches. They were so many of them were such close games where there was at least a point where I could not tell which way it was gonna go. I think that's really nice when you can have an evening like that.
That's good to know for sure. Yeah, and I imagine it's similar on Matt's side, but from my side, matches were super entertaining to watch. Great to cast as well. Like as you said, both matches could have gone either way. So a lot of fun and interesting matches to watch, and I'm definitely looking forward to the next series.
Yeah, some of the more interesting ones were also the frustrating ones because it's like, okay, I have to bounce back and forth between two fights going on, but it's so close. I don't know which one I actually need to be paying attention to. And it's like
true.
I switch to one guy, and then the other fight ends, and he's dead. And I'm like, oh no, what did I miss? I'm like, oh wait, I didn't miss it too much.
That's
but,
true.
Oh no, I missed it.
It was it actually worked out for the most part fairly well between you and me, Matt, where information was going out, like the information was going out, even though like it wasn't being shown on stream, because I had a little bit of a difficult time there trying to get everything on camera, because with some of the matches you had 2 or 3 1v1s going on, so it was difficult to try and keep track of everything. But
Shout out to Viridian.
Shout out to Viridian for sure, and Tourmaline to an extent. But yeah, definitely great fun, great matches, and yeah, definitely looking forward to the rest of the drops and the rest of the tournament. So
real quick to the end to end this, highlights of tonight, highlight tidbits. For me, it was definitely DFA Cubby Gank Squad.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that. I think the tail end of that very last match had to be my favorite of the night. You know, it was extremely close.
Was intense.
That
was really, really enjoyable to watch.
I'm watching the games. I get a Discord PM. I look over. I answer. I look back. I go, wait a minute. Where did the Annihilator go?
Yeah, there was there was a very good gank from Smoke Adders on there. Probably that was probably my most enjoyable part of the night. Was that gank there? You know, Smoke Adders did a very, very good job on that. They had their Mad Cat being pushed, but they sent 3 mechs after RJF's Annihilator, and then basically neutered it.
Yeah, and Viren did a really good job staying alive in the last one.
Yeah.
He was alive up until, like, he was, I think, the third to last to die or something like that.
Up until the part where he got accidentally airstruck by his own teammate.
No, that was the Annie. I mean,
yeah,
Viren.
That's what I said.
Oh,
no,
sorry, on the Smoke Adders
yeah,
side,
like, he got caught, like, early by 5 mechs looking at him, but then he's like, okay, hold on, I'm just gonna whoop away and not die.
Yeah, he did get caught out there at the beginning, but he did do a really good job of staying alive, so yeah, definitely very exciting matches, and again, I'm looking forward to the next. So if you guys don't have anything else, we'll wrap things up here. Yeah,
just good job to all the teams that played today. Thank you very much for participating.
Yep, thank you to all the teams that signed up and participated. Thank you to all the back-end staff, all the casters, Oblivion, Matt, yourself, Panic, everybody else, Dom, Chrisman, Defunct, everybody on the, I guess, support staff helping out for the overall tournament itself and for the casting of the tournament. Thank you all, everybody. MW Comp, thank you guys for allowing us to stream these matches on your channel. Greatly appreciate it, and I hope everybody in chat enjoyed the matches, because I definitely enjoyed watching them.
Also, thanks, Kurlan. Thanks again.
Yeah,
double thanks.
About 1,000 times thanks to Kurlan, who basically helped all of us get set up on these overlays and on these graphics here. So big shout out to him. A lot of back end work going into the overlays, getting everything set up in terms of the stats page and all that fun stuff. So Kurlan, big shout out to you, man. Thank you so much for all that hard work you've done. And if that's if Oblivion and Matt don't have anything else to say, I'm gonna wrap things up here on stream here.
All right, good to go.
All right, thanks to everybody for watching, and enjoy your weekend. Say goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.